Chapter 46. May you pick more, this thing is the most yearning. After the woman said these two sentences, her fingers gently pressed forward. The red beans were like raindrops that filled the sky, flying in all directions. The red beans grew rapidly in the eyes of the man in cyan clothes. Not good. The face of the man in cyan clothes changed dramatically. He moved his mind, and the blood in his body rushed out. The blood was like mercury, enveloping his whole body. Buzz, the sea of blood in the sky shook. A blood column, spiraling down from the sea of blood, went straight to the top of the man in cyan clothes, merged with his blood, and rotated quickly around him. The howl continued. Looking from a distance, it was like a storm, which made people's scalp numb. Boom! Boom! The red beans in the woman's hand quickly blasted on the blood and chi, creating layers of ripples. Horrifying explosions rang out incessantly. The red beans in the woman's hand seemed to have no end, like a rain of arrows, constantly shooting. The blood in front of the man in cyan clothes kept exploding and evaporating into ashes. The ground was lifted up by the aftermath. The buildings in the competition venue collapsed layer by layer in the storm, bursting into dust, covering all directions. The entire Jiangyang city was shaking violently. From a distance, it was like a doomsday storm, terrifying and boundless. Those who survived stared blankly at the storm in the competition venue, and the whole person was scared silly. Many people knelt on the ground, put their hands together, and prayed secretly. Damn it! Which immortal painted this? It's so terrible! Why is the old man so miserable, encountering this kind of treasure in the first battle? The man in cyan clothes roared again and again, madly extracting the power of the sea of blood to fight against it. No, if this goes on, I will be exhausted by her, I can't hide any more. The man in cyan clothes roared to the sky, Come out, blood fairy! This sound rose. Buzz, the sea of blood shook. A huge skeleton palm stretched out from the sea of blood and reached down from the sky. Covering the sky and covering the sun, the murderous aura billowed. The pressure made everyone breathless, and their hearts stopped. The endless pressure caused many Xiuzhe to lie on the ground and tremble. Buzz, the skeleton palm, aimed at the woman in the painting, pressed straight down. Boom! There was a loud noise. The body of the woman in the painting shattered into light and shadow and disappeared. The lovesickness painting completely turned into a blank piece of paper, losing its spirituality. Kill them! The azure-robed man pointed to Luo Luyan and the others and shouted. Buzz! The skeletal palm changed direction, aimed at Luo Luyan and others, and quickly pressed down. The two women's expressions changed drastically as they struggled frantically. It was useless. All means were useless before the skeletal palm. The two women were pressed to the ground, unable to move. He didn't even have the chance to obtain the Jishi painting. I couldn't complete the young master's test. Master, this is not your fault. Who would have thought that there would be a blood demon in Jiangyang City? Yes, the young master did not calculate that the human race is in danger. The two of them closed their eyes and quietly waited for death. The other side. Chen Daoming looked at the skeleton palm in the sky, and his face was full of despair. In front of such an expert, nascent soul cultivators weren't even cannon fodder. Now, even moving a finger was extremely difficult. Young master, I'm incompetent and have disappointed you. Chen Daoming closed his eyes and quietly waited for death. No, don't. Beside Chen Daoming, a group of cultivators all shouted unwillingly. Their faces were full of despair. Looking at it, the skeletal palm was about to smash everyone into powder. At this time, Sarira, color is not different from emptiness. Emptiness is not different from color. A loud voice came from the void. Golden scriptures flew all over the sky, shining with golden light. It looked like countless golden butterflies. Buzz, suddenly. Chen Daoming's space ring vibrated. A Buddha statue came out of the space ring. There was a flash of light. The Buddha statue rushed out quickly and stood quietly in the sky, wrapped in hundreds of millions of scriptures. Buzz, every scripture that drilled into the body of the Buddha statue would shake. The body of the Buddha statue, as the scriptures drilled in, was rapidly growing. In an instant, the Buddha statue incarnated 1,000 meters, standing proudly in the sky. The dazzling golden light was shining brightly. It looked incomparably sacred. The Buddha statue floated high in the sky and slowly opened its mouth. Sarira, color is not different from emptiness, emptiness is not different from color, color is emptiness, emptiness is color, perception, thinking, action, and consciousness are the same. A line of scriptures was spat out from the mouth of the Buddha statue. Every sentence was like the words of the great Tao, and its power was peerless. The palm that pressed down from the sea of blood quickly disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. Howl, a roar came from the sea of blood. The sound was mournful, as if suffering endless pain. Damn bald donkey, don't stay in Elysium, what are you doing here? Do you need to care about this? Do you really think that our blood demon race is easy to bully? The sea of blood shook, bursting with countless sharp howls. A skeleton palm drilled out of the sea of blood and pressed toward the Buddha statue. The whole world seemed to have lost its color, leaving only the color of blood and gold against each other. Damn bald donkey, go to hell for this seat! There was a roar. Thousands of skeleton palms, overwhelming the sky and earth, quickly blasted toward the golden Buddha statue. The golden Buddha statue did not speak, but just read the scriptures. Buzz, a golden light spread from the Buddha statue to the surroundings. In an instant, it blasted on the skeleton palm. Boom, these sky-covering skeleton palms, after touching the golden light, instantly collapsed into powder. Howl, a miserable scream came from the sea of blood. The entire sea of blood was shaking wildly, as if it was about to pour down. Sarira is the emptiness of all laws, neither born nor destroyed, neither dirty nor clean, neither increasing nor decreasing. The Buddha statue stretched out its palm, aimed at the sea of blood, and waved it. A golden illusory palm rapidly expanded and enveloped the entire blood sea. No, an unwilling roar sounded. Boom! There was a loud noise. The monstrous sea of blood directly evaporated into nothingness. The skeletons in the sea of blood were all blasted into flying ashes. The man in green clothes looked at this scene, and his whole person was paralyzed with fear. Impossible, absolutely impossible! His face was pale, and his mouth muttered to himself. How could his strongest magic weapon be easily broken? Suddenly, he moved. His body turned into a rainbow and fled quickly. However, buzz, two golden lights burst out of the Buddha statue's eyes. No, the man in green clothes roared and struggled frantically. However, it was useless. He could only watch the golden light hit his body, and his body was burned into black smoke. Wow, a drop of blood, detached from his body, flew away rapidly. Another golden light arrived in an instant. Burn this drop of blood into black smoke. At this point, the man in green clothes was completely dead and could not be resurrected. The Buddha statue swept in all directions, and the golden light on its body kept shining. Finally, countless scriptures flew out of the Buddha statue's body, returned to the void, and disappeared. The broken arm Buddha statue shrank rapidly. In less than a moment, it became the size of a palm. Swish, the broken arm Buddha statue turned into a golden light and flew back to Chen Daoming's hand. The sky. The sun was shining, and it was still clear. Everything just now was like an illusion. Chapter 47. Yuejun In. Ningmingji looked at the scroll in front of him, frowning and thinking. Young master, such an expert, what does he mean by giving me this scroll? Is this a hint that I can embark on the road of cultivation? How can I be so stupid? All these years of studying are in vain? Ningmingji murmured with a bitter face. At this time, Sarira, color is not different from emptiness, emptiness is not different from color. Voices came one after another. The scroll in front of Ning Mingji immediately began to change. He seemed to be in the scroll, standing on the mountain peak, looking at the scene in front of him with a face full of shock. He saw a huge Buddha emitting a dazzling golden light, looking at him. The Buddha statue's mouth was chanting. Every sentence contained the sound of the great Buddha. Hearing it, the mind was roaring. At this moment, Ning Mingji was in an indescribable state of unity of heaven and man. Because he was a mortal, his strength did not increase. But his mind was improving rapidly. Until the scripture stopped. Ning Mingji woke up. His eyes were full of shock. He pinched himself hard. Ning Mingji, you are really stupid. You see, isn't this figure in the painting referring to you? Young master told you that you must go to the temple as soon as possible. And this temple, following the scriptures recited by young master, evolved the golden Buddha path. Isn't this a hint to you to become a monk and cultivate Buddhism? Young master said it so obviously. You are still stupid, really stupid. You should immediately become a monk, follow young master, and cultivate Buddhism. After saying that, Ning Mingji picked up the scissors and shaved his hair. The sect competition field. Chen Daoming held the Buddha statue, and his heart was already in turmoil. His body trembled slightly, and there were some tears in his eyes. Young master, you have calculated everything, knowing that I will have this tribulation today. So, you gave me this Buddha statue and let me get through this tribulation. Young master, your great kindness, Dao Ming will remember it in my heart and never forget it. He slowly put away the statue and breathed a long sigh of relief. It's too dangerous, it's too dangerous. If I was a little greedy and careless and took another statue, the outcome would definitely not be like this. I must give this pill to young master as soon as possible. Chen Daoming muttered, opened the jade bottle, and after confirming that the elixir inside was intact, he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Then, he walked out of the arena and quickly left. Luo Luyan looked at Chen Daoming's back with a very complicated expression. It's him? Others didn't see it, but Luo Luyan clearly saw that the Buddha statue in the sky flew back to Chen Daoming's hands. In other words, the person who killed the fiend today was Chen Daoming. A little guy at the nascent soul realm. Saved the entire Jiangyang city? Is he some kind of Buddhist expert? Regardless of this, he had to first tell the young master about the blood demon race's attack. This matter was of utmost importance. Thinking so, Luo Luyan looked at Su Yiling. Disciple, this matter is over. Call this disciple back. The two of us will go to see the young master immediately. Su Yiling froze in place and took a few long breaths to calm down. Everything that had happened today was too terrifying. Even a top expert like the Blood Demon General had appeared. It wasn't something they could fight against. Fortunately, there were Buddhist and Taoist experts who came to suppress it. Otherwise, he would really die here, his body and Tao disappearing. Yes, master. Su Yiling nodded. Just as the two women were about to make their move, here. At this moment, an exclamation sounded. Immediately afterward, a group of cultivators like a torrent rushed over. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded Luo Luyan and Su Yiling. Fairy, thank you both for saving our lives. Today, if it weren't for the two of you, we would have died. Female Bodhisattva, this is a cold spirit grass. Although it is not worth much money, it is a little bit of my heart. Two goddesses, you two are our second parent. This flame crystal is a small token of my heart. These cultivators took out their most precious treasures and presented them in front of Luo Luyan and Su Yiling. The two women were completely stunned in place. Saving them, although they had a share of the credit. But the one who really saved everyone was the sword cultivator. If they accept these things, wouldn't they admit that they saved everyone? How could they dare to take this credit? Fellow Taoists, I think everyone has misunderstood. The one who saved you is someone else. Luo Luyan said. Female Bodhisattva, don't be modest. At this time, Lu Duoju stood out from the crowd. If you two hadn't appeared in time, I would have been killed by Xue Sha. Lu Duoju said. That's right. Another cultivator stood up. It was the fairies of Jade Lake Palace who saved me. If you hadn't brought them to save us, I would have become the food of human puppets. Yes, goddess, you are so kind-hearted. You saved everyone, but you still don't admit it. I admire this kind of state of mind. You are a female bodhisattva who saves people from suffering. You don't care about fame and fortune. Please accept our worship. A group of cultivators knelt in front of Luo Luoyan and began to kowtow. Luo Luoyan looked like a rascal. What they said was the truth. But these actually had nothing to do with her. If the young master didn't calculate and guide her, how could she come to save them? Everyone, it's really a misunderstanding. We are actually here under the guidance of an expert. He told us that the evil race would invade Jiangyang City, so we could make arrangements in advance, Luo Luoyan said. Hearing this, everyone showed a sudden realization. It turned out that Jade Lake Palace was actually guided by an expert. In that case, just how strong was this expert? To be able to calculate all this, his strength was really terrible. If they could get to know such a person, it would be a great fortune. Female Bodhisattva, can you tell us where the expert is? I will go and visit him to express my gratitude. Lu Duoju said. Absolutely not. Luo Luoyan's face changed slightly, and she hurriedly stopped him. The expert likes peace and quiet. If everyone goes, it will definitely make the expert unhappy. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Fairy, I'll have to trouble you to pass this spiritual herb to the master. Female Bodhisattva, please help me pass this spirit herb to the expert. Everyone took out their own treasures in turn and handed them to Luo Luoyan. Luo Luoyan sighed and shook her head for a while. Can the young master take a fancy to these things? She showed a bitter look and said, Everyone, I appreciate your kindness on behalf of the expert. However, do you also know that the expert will lack these things? Luo Luoyan said. As soon as these words came out, all the cultivators nodded together. Indeed, these things, in her opinion, were peerless treasures. However, in the eyes of the expert, they were simply waste and had no effect at all. Sending a bunch of waste to the expert? It would definitely cause the expert to be unhappy, and that would be self-defeating. Thank you for your guidance. The group of cultivators nodded and saluted with their fists. Chapter 48. Yuejun In. Sun Hao closed the Heart Sutra and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. After reciting the scripture, that palpitating feeling disappeared completely. He was incomparably relaxed. From the looks of it, this was the purpose of the system forcing him to chant scriptures. In addition, he had just obtained more than 1,200 blessing points. It was simply too comfortable. Young master, are you feeling better? Huang Ruming looked at Sun Hao, her eyes full of worship. Just now, the young master was able to kill a general of the blood demon race just by chanting. This method, this strength, it was shocking. Moreover, looking at the young master's appearance, he didn't seem to know any of this at all. In that case, the young master's Taoist heart was not damaged, and he saved the entire Jiangyang city. She could not imagine it at all. Much better. The whole person is extremely comfortable. Sun Hao said. That's good. Huang Ruming nodded. Ruming, let's go and continue to look for a shop. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming followed closely behind Sun Hao. Creak. The door opened. Seeing the scene in front of him, Sun Hao almost vomited. Corpses that had died horribly were strewn all over the corridor. His head was severed and his intestines flowed out. Sun Hao knew one of the men whose head was broken. This person was the person who served him. Yesterday he was fine, but today he was gone. Moreover, the ground was covered in pitch-black pus, and a strange stench assaulted their nostrils. Just a whiff of it was enough to make one feel unwell. What was going on? What happened? Sun Hao was stunned in place. Young master! At this moment, a bald man ran over quickly and looked at Sun Hao with excitement. He was Ning Mingji. Seeing this bald head, Sun Hao returned to his senses. His face was filled with confusion. He seemed to know this person, but at the same time, he didn't. You are? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I am Ning Mingji. Yesterday you gave me a painting. After speaking, Ning Mingji picked up the scroll and waved it in front of Sun Hao. Hearing this, Sun Hao understood. So, it was the scholar from yesterday. Let's talk inside. It's too smelly outside. Sun Hao endured the discomfort and walked into the house. All right, young master. Ning Mingji followed behind them. The door closed. Why did you shave your head? Sun Hao asked. Young master, Ning Mingji was about to answer when a voice rang in his ear. The young master is using a mortal body to gain experience in the world of mortals. You must not point it out. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. At this time, Huang Ruming's voice passed into Ning Mingji's ears. Hearing this, Ning Mingji breathed a sigh of relief. It almost aroused the young master's suspicion. It was too dangerous. From the looks of it, the young master's identity was unimaginable? No wonder he was so strong. He could kill the killer centipede with just the sound of his zither. This technique was definitely that of a peerless immortal. Young master, I figured something out, so I decided to become a monk. Ning Mingji replied. Hearing this, Sun Hao looked stunned. The thoughts of the people in this world were indeed peculiar. Yesterday, he was still discussing poetry and painting with her, and today, he was going to become a monk. I can't figure it out. Brother Ning, so many people died outside. What the hell is going on? Sun Hao asked. Ning Mingji did not answer directly. Instead, he glanced at Huang Ruming. Then, he began to answer. Young master, something big happened in Jiangyang City. Something big? What's the big deal? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the evil race invaded Jiangyang City, and many people died tragically. These people were killed by the puppets. Ning Mingji said. Evil race? Killed living people? Did it have to be so exciting? Or in the center of Yangzhou, Jiangyang City, this evil race also dared to come? If it was somewhere else, what would happen? This world was too dangerous. Sun Hao's heart shook, but there was no change on his face. What is a puppet? Young master, a puppet is a secret method of the puppet clan to erase the soul of a living person and turn it into a puppet without consciousness. This kind of puppet, after a series of medicines, is as strong as a knife. There are some powerful puppets that can destroy heaven and earth and are extremely powerful. Ning Mingji said. Hearing this, Sun Hao's back was cold, and his body was cold. A mere puppet was already this powerful. If it was a bunch of puppets, who could resist? It was terrible. Did the evil race only attack Yuejunin? Sun Hao said. Of course not. Ning Mingji shook his head slightly. Young master, there are traces of puppets throughout the city. Last night, many people should have died. Hiss, Sun Hao secretly took a breath of cold air. What about the promised safety? What about the promise of no protection? This was a purgatory, okay? He couldn't stay in this place anymore. I'm scared to death. This clinic is not open anymore. It's safer to go back to where I live. In case of encountering this kind of monster, he could at least hide in the farm. The farm was a secret space. Without his consent, ordinary cultivators could not enter at all. Thank you, Brother Ning, for informing me. I have something to do and have to go back first. Speaking of this, Sun Hao looked at Huang Ruming. Ruming, pack up, let's go home. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming nodded and began to pack up. One by one, she put the items in the space ring. Young master. Seeing that Sun Hao was about to leave, Ning Mingji hurriedly stopped him. Brother Ning, do you have anything else? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I want to follow you, can I? Ning Mingji asked. Follow me? Sun Hao frowned and looked puzzled. You said you want to be a monk, why do you want to follow me? Young master, I want to listen to you chant scriptures. Ning Mingji said. Chant scriptures? Someone likes to listen to me chant scriptures? This guy, he didn't just hear me chanting scriptures, so he wanted to become a monk, right? Looking at his head, it seemed that he had just shaved, and some places were still bumpy. He must have shaved it by himself. Finally, he found a guy who liked to listen to him chanting scriptures. If someone listens to chanting scriptures, it will not be so boring, and it will even have a sense of accomplishment. Yes, but I will not stay in Jiangyang City. If you want to listen, come to my residence. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. As soon as he looked up, he saw Huang Rumeng taking Sun Hao and rising rapidly into the air. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a black spot and disappeared. Young master, where do you live? Ning Mingji roared. The only response he got was his own voice. Young master asked me to go to his residence, but he didn't tell me where he lived? Why is this? Is this a test? It must be so. Only when I find young master's residence, he will teach me sincerely. Ning Mingji muttered to himself, thinking about every word Sun Hao had said. However, he filtered Sun Hao's every word, and after thinking about it, he couldn't figure out where Sun Hao lived. Why am I so stupid? Young master's test, where is it? Is it not in the words, but in the painting? It must be so. Thinking like this, Ning Mingji picked up the painting scroll and looked at it carefully. He went straight back to his room and sat like a wooden sculpture. I don't know how long it took. I see. Isn't this painting a mountain in the Great Demon Mountain Range? And this temple, looking at its position, should be in the south. Young master means, doesn't it mean the southern location of the Great Demon Mountain Range? When young master gave me this painting, he had already pointed out everything. Young master's profound meaning. Mingji woke up. I am really ashamed. Young master, wait for me, I will find your residence. After speaking, Ning Mingji returned to his room and began to pack up. Chapter 49. Located 500 kilometers south of the Great Demon Mountain, there was a pool with a radius of a few kilometers. It was known as the Ghost Dragon Pool. It was rumored that there was a ghost dragon inside that could devour the heavens and the earth, terrifying beyond compare. No one dared to approach the Ghost Dragon Pond within a radius of 10 li. On this day, a fisherman with a fishing net on his back and a harpoon in his hand carefully made his way to the edge of the ghostly dragon pond. He looked at the ghostly dragon pond with a panicked expression. I don't care anymore. If we can't catch any fish, our whole family will starve to death. His head fell off. What a big scar! With that, the fisherman carefully walked to the edge of Ghost Dragon Pond, picked up the fishing net, and threw it with all his might. Hua, the fishing net fell into the water, creating ripples that spread in all directions. The fisherman held the fishing net and pulled it with all his might. The fish in the net were alive and kicking. The fisherman's face was filled with smiles. I'm rich, I'm rich. If I sell this net of fish, I won't have to worry about living for at least a month. The fisherman mumbled. He picked up the net and walked back. However, a sudden change occurred at this moment. Huge bubbles rose in the Ghost Dragon Lake. The water in the pool began to boil as if it was boiling. The entire ground was shaking violently. The fisherman seemed to notice that something was wrong. He turned around and was scared silly. A head that looked like a dragon's head stood in midair like a huge mountain. Those two blood-red eyes emitted a chilling light. Here, even the Supreme Court does not dare to break into my territory. You, a mortal, actually came here, courting death. After saying those words, the gigantic dragon head opened its mouth and sucked hard. The fisherman lost control of his body and flew backwards with the big fish he had just caught. The dragon head bit him and chewed gently before swallowing him. Then, the dragon head slowly sank into the water. The surface of the water became calm again, as if nothing had happened. On the shore, the fishing net lay there peacefully. In the sky south of the ghost dragon lake, a long rainbow was flying at high speed. This long rainbow was Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng. Oh no, I forgot to tell Ning Mingji the address. It was all his fault. He was too nervous and only wanted to escape. In the end, he forgot about it. Now, they have been flying for more than half a day. Even if they rushed back, Ning Mingji must have left. It wasn't easy for someone to be willing to listen to him recite scriptures, but in the end, it turned out like this. Forget it, let's go back first. Sun Hao relaxed and began to tour the surrounding scenery. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He saw a pool of water. The pool rippled with jade-green ripples, giving off a pleasant feeling. Rumeng, let's go to the pool and play for a while. Sun Hao pointed down and said, Yes, young master. The two of them quickly landed. Sun Hao stood by the pool, closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and showed a look of enjoyment. What a great place. I wonder if there are any fish in there? I haven't eaten meat in a long time. I wonder if I can catch a fish in such deep water? Thinking of this, Sun Hao glanced around and saw a fishing net and a harpoon not far away. Who left this behind? It just so happened that he could use it. What a good person. Rumeng, let's catch a fish here and go back. I haven't eaten meat for a long time. Sun Hao said. Everything is at young master's command. Huang Rumeng smiled and nodded. Rumeng, you just watch from the side, I'll salvage it. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Sun Hao picked up the fishing net, walked to the edge of the pool, spread the net, and quickly threw it down. Then, he pulled up the fishing net hard. However, nothing was caught. At the bottom of the pool, a fierce flood dragon opened its eyes, and two sharp eyes burst out. Damn bug, come again! How can the likes of you mess around in my place? After speaking, the fierce flood dragon turned into a flash of lightning and rushed away. On the edge of the pool. Impossible, isn't my fishing in the supreme realm? Why didn't I even catch a fish? Such a big pool, it stands to reason that there should be fish. Big fish, come to me. Sun Hao roared, spread the fishing net, and threw it to the water. Behind him, Huang Rumeng looked at the ghost dragon pool, her heart beating violently, and her face showed a sense of uneasiness. There's something down here. Huang Rumeng's divine awareness scanned the bottom of the pool, and her scalp exploded, and she quickly retracted her divine awareness. There is a peerless fierce flood dragon below. It has reached the 5th stage of Ascendant Realm, and it is more terrifying than the Earth Fiend. Not good. Huang Rumeng looked at Sun Hao and quickly ran toward him to stop him from getting the net. However, it was too late. The fierce flood dragon rushed straight up, aimed at the fishing net, and rushed over. Little bug, fishing in my territory, you're courting death. The fierce flood dragon's eyes were full of cold, killing intent. In the next second, its face changed dramatically. He saw that the fishing net was growing rapidly, and in an instant it was wrapped up. You want to trap me with this, you're courting death. The fierce flood dragon roared hard and slammed straight into the fishing net. Boom, a very slight sound rang out. With this collision, the fierce flood dragon was dizzy and almost fainted. What the hell is this? The fierce flood dragon's face changed dramatically, and it struggled frantically. However, it was useless. Every time it touched the fishing net, it would feel like its soul was torn apart. In the entire western regions, it was a supreme existence, and no one could check and balance it. Every month, it would devour an 8th-class sect, and even the Supreme Court did not dare to manage it. But it would fall into the hands of a mortal? Unreconciled. The fierce flood dragon roared and struggled frantically. It was useless. Its body, along with the fishing net, shrank smaller and smaller. Finally, it was fished out of the water. Rumeng, look, it's a big eel. A surprised voice came. Hearing the fierce flood dragon's ear, he couldn't help but be angry. You are the big eel. Your whole family is big eel. However, what frightened the fierce flood dragon was that what it said was just squeaking, just like the eel. My God, who the hell is he? What does he want to do? The fierce flood dragon's face was full of horror. Young master, you are really amazing, Huang Rumming said. You flatter me, Rumming, we have a good meal tonight, such a big eel, we can't finish it in one meal. Sun Hao said. What? Want to eat me? God. Don't you know I'm a dragon? Although I haven't turned into a dragon, my identity is here. Even if you are strong, in front of the dragon, what are you? Let me go quickly. The fierce flood dragon roared loudly and roared again and again. In Sun Hao's view, it was just jumping wildly in the big net, which didn't play any role. Be good, stop jumping, it's useless. A big hand reached into the fishing net and grabbed the fierce flood dragon. Just by relying on you, a mortal, you want to catch me? See if I don't swallow you. This idea had just taken shape. In the next second, the fierce flood dragon's face changed dramatically. It found that it couldn't struggle in the hands of this mortal. What scared it even more was that all its power was sealed and couldn't be used. It's over. This was the fierce flood dragon's last thought. Huang Rumming stared blankly at this scene, and she was so shocked that she didn't move for a long time. Even the dragon was eaten as an eel. In this world, who else but the young master? Chapter 50. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye 2 days had passed. For the past 2 days, the news of the evil and demon clans wreaking havoc in Jiangyang City spread throughout the entire Yangzhou. With Yangzhou as the center, it spread to the western region. The Jade Lake Palace was called the Immortal Sect by the cultivators, and the name of Luo Luoyan was even spread as a female bodhisattva. He was kind-hearted and took it upon himself to save the world. This kind of supreme quality was the model for all Xiuzhi to learn from. When the evil races came to invade, they were not afraid of danger and did not care about fame and fortune. This breadth of mind was simply shocking. Whenever it was mentioned, many Xiuzhi were moved to tears. As for the master behind Luo Luoyan, it was even more amazing. Many people speculated that the expert behind Luo Luoyan was one of the 9 immortals of the human race. Some said it was Taoist Ling Su, some said it was Yu Jizi, and some said it was Elder Yueli. There were many more. However, these immortals had not appeared in the mortal world for tens of thousands of years. Everyone overturned their guesses. In the end, the cultivators named this expert the Godly Cunning Immortal. After the embellishment, the Godly Cunning Immortal became an omnipotent immortal. As for the Buddhist and Taoist masters who saved the entire Jiangyang city, it was even more amazing. The news of the birth of the Pure Land of Ultimate Bliss spread throughout the entire Yangzhou, and with Yangzhou as the center, it quickly spread outwards. For this, Luo Luoyan naturally did not know. At this moment, she and Su Yiling had arrived near the Great Demon Mountain. Master, the young master is training as a mortal. Isn't it inappropriate for us to tell him the news of the birth of the Blood Demon clan? Su Yiling asked. What's wrong with that? We didn't mean to mention it, and we won't break young master's Taoist heart. Young master just needs to give us some pointers in secret, and we only need to understand it. Besides, apart from Taoist Ruo Shi, I haven't seen any of the 9 immortals of the human race. They must have all gone to the immortal realm. And Taoist Ruo Shi is breaking through, so it is inconvenient to disturb her. Now, only the young master can turn the tide. Luo Luoyan said. Master, is there really an immortal world in this world? Su Yiling asked. This, Luo Luoyan was stunned and shook her head slightly. I don't know, maybe there will be. If there's a celestial realm, it should be pretty good, right? There must be a lot of delicious food, right? Su Yiling's eyes twinkled. You only know how to eat. Work hard to improve your strength first. Alright, we should go down now. The 2 girls landed on the ground and looked at the small path up the mountain. They were stunned. A man with a long saber on his back was walking up the mountain. He was Chun Daoming. It's him, Chen Daoming. Luo Luoyan recognized him at a glance. He learned from Lu Duozhu that he was the sect master of the Tyrant Saber sect, Chen Daoming. Why would he appear here? Could it be that he knew the young master? Why did he come here? A series of questions. Luo Luoyan looked puzzled and quickly caught up. Sect Master Chen, wait! Luo Luoyan shouted. Chen Daoming heard the voice behind him and frowned. Turning around, his face warped in astonishment. It turned out to be the palace master of Jade Lake Palace, Luo Luoyan. That move of hers was earth-shattering, and it almost killed Disha. Now that he thought about it, he still felt a lingering fear. Palace Master Luo, what can I do for you? Chen Daoming said while clasping his fist. You're too polite. Sect Master Chen, I just want to ask, do you know young Master Sun Hao? Luo Luoyan said. What? Do you also know young Master Sun Hao? Chen Daoming was surprised. That's natural, the young master has a wonderful plan and asked me to go to Jiangyang City to arrange everything. Next, Luo Luoyan told him about her own affairs. Chen Daoming listened secretly, his eyes shining brightly, flickering. The young master had a wonderful plan and had already controlled everything. What a celestial being! It's a pity that the young master didn't expect that the devil race would take action. Fortunately, you killed the Disha, Luo Luoyan said. Hearing this, Chen Daoming's face showed a look of shame. Palace Master Luo, you are wrong. Chen Daoming said. Wrong. Luo Luoyan's face was full of puzzlement. First, the young master has a wonderful plan and knows everything in the world. A small Disha, as early as a month ago, has been calculated. Chen Daoming said. What? Luo Luoyan and the two women exclaimed at the same time. A month ago, it was calculated. This method, I am afraid that even immortals can't do it. The two women's faces were full of shock. Second, it is not me who killed the Disha, but the young master. After speaking, Chen Daoming took out the broken arm Buddha statue. This thing was given to me by the young master to deal with the Disha. As early as a month ago, the young master began to lay out the plan. My aptitude is dull, and I couldn't understand the young master's intention, so I let the Buddha statue jump out by itself and directly suppress the Disha. Next, Chen Daoming told about the test he encountered. After listening, Luo Luoyan breathed a long sigh of relief and thought it was dangerous. At the same time, on her face there was a touch of shame. The young master had a wonderful plan, and he had long known the sky and the earth. She even suspected that the young master could not calculate the arrival of the Blood Demon clan. Damn it, I'm a fool, a stupid chicken, really stupid to the max. She dared to doubt a character like the young master. Her brain was not working well. Luo Luoyan scolded herself 10,000 times in her heart, which made her feel a little comfortable. The young master not only had a wonderful plan, but he also set up this situation. The purpose was to test us. The young master's means were unimaginable. As long as one of us is greedy, then this situation can't be solved. Her own death was a small matter, but the life and death of the elite disciples of Jade Lake Palace and even the entire Jiangyang City was a big matter. Fortunately, everything was over without mishap. Now thinking about it, there was a burst of fear. In the future, in front of the young master, there must be no disrespect, let alone any doubt. Luo Luoyan murmured and secretly made a decision. Then, she looked at Chen Daoming and clasped her fists. Sect Master Chen, I admire your perception very much. If you don't mind, let's become friends. When we meet the young master's test in the future, we will verify each other together. How about it? Palace Master Luo, oh no, fellow Taoist Luo, I have this intention. I am extremely honored to get your guidance. Chen Daoming clasped his fists with a respectful attitude. Both of their faces were full of joy. They looked at each other and smiled. Everything was in silence. Master, what are you talking about? Otherwise, let's go up the mountain first. Maybe we can have a meal at the young master's place. Su Yiling said. Yiling, you are not young anymore. You have to grow your heart. Don't just think about eating all day long. Through the young master's test, you will get amazing fortune, and your strength will advance by leaps and bounds. In the future, you can eat whatever you want. Luo Luoyan began to admonish earnestly. Master, I know, let's go. After speaking, Su Yiling smiled sweetly and quickly ran up the mountain. Luo Luoyan sighed softly and made a gesture of invitation. Fellow Taoist Chen, please. Fellow Taoist Luo, please. Chen Dao said. All right. Luo Luoyan nodded and walked forward. Chen Dao Ming followed closely, his eyes shining brightly. In the future, with the guidance of such a senior, he would definitely take fewer detours. The young master's test was so difficult, and the senior could comprehend it. This perception was at its peak. In the future, when the young master tests himself, he must ask the senior for guidance. Chapter 51. Western Regions, Supreme Court West Courtyard. In a large hall, a white-haired old man stood on the stage, looking at several men and women below with a dignified expression. What do you think about Jiangyang City, Yangzhou? The white-haired old man said. Dean. A burly man stood up. Ho Xing, you say? The white-haired old man said. Dean, the matter of Jiangyang City is not credible. Ho Xing said. Why? The white-haired old man asked. First, the rumors of the cultivators will be exaggerated. Last time, someone said that the sky demon caused chaos and harmed all living beings. As a result, it was just a little demon who had just reached the Qi refining realm. Second, Jade Lake Palace Master Luo Luoyan was originally a student of my Supreme Court West Courtyard. Because of her mediocre talent, she had no hope of promotion, so she went to Jade Lake Palace. Can she save Jiangyang City and kill the evil spirits? Dean, do you believe it? Third, as for the godly cunning immortal, I think it is non-existent. It is simply fabricated by Luo Luoyan to confuse all living beings. Fourth, Elysium only appears in legends, there is no such thing at all. What Buddhist and Taoist master, it must be fabricated. In summary of the above 4 points, Luo Luoyan has ulterior motives and must have a conspiracy. I am afraid that those evil spirits are not dead at all, but in collusion with Luo Luoyan to destroy the foundation of my Supreme Court. Dean, the student thinks that we should send an army to suppress Jade Lake Palace, arrest Luo Luoyan, torture her, and force her to tell the evil spirit's purpose. After Ho Xing finished speaking, he respectfully knelt on the ground and saluted. Dean, the student seconded. Then, several men and women stood up, knelt on the ground and asked to go out. The white-haired old man stood in place, closed his eyes and thought deeply. For a long time. He opened his eyes and looked at a woman in blue. Mu Bing, aren't you good friends with Luo Luoyan? Why don't you speak? The white-haired old man asked. Dean, you already have the answer in your heart. It's the same whether the student says it or not. Mu Bing said. Oh, then tell me. The white-haired old man asked. Dean, if I stand up to defend Luo Luoyan, it will only affect the judgment of the Dean, and at the same time, it will also give Ho Xing the opportunity to blame me. Mu Bing said. You fart, Ho Xing is not that kind of villain. I think you have bad intentions and are using this opportunity to frame me. Dean, please punish her. Ho Xing said loudly. Impudent. The white-haired old man spoke indifferently, and Ho Xing immediately shut his mouth. Continue. Yes, Dean. What Ho Xing said is all bullshit. First, he pursued Luo Luoyan back then and was mercilessly rejected. He already harbored hatred in his heart. He just took this opportunity to frame Luo Luoyan. Second, the matter of Jiangyang City, whether it is true or not, the foundation of the Supreme Court, how can a small sect shake it? Ho Xing is exaggerating and has sinister intentions. Third, as a student of the Supreme Court, it is taboo to jump to conclusions without knowing the truth. I'm sure the dean already knows these 3 points. Mu Bing said. Hearing these words, Ho Xing clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. His eyes were filled with hatred, as if he wanted to swallow Mu Bing whole. Fearing the dean's authority, he didn't dare to act up. When the white-haired old man heard this, he stroked his long beard and nodded slightly. Then, in your opinion, how should this matter be handled? That is naturally to send someone to investigate everything clearly, and then make a conclusion. As for the evil attack, whether it is true or false, we must report this matter to the General Court and take precautions as soon as possible. Mu Bing said. Haha, the white-haired old man laughed loudly with a satisfied face. Good, good. Worthy of being a member of the Mu family, this old man will send you to investigate. What do you think? The white-haired old man said. What the dean has arranged, the student will do his best to complete it. Mu Bing calmly clasped her fists, without sadness or joy, as if everything had nothing to do with her. Okay, you go. What do you need? Go to the treasure house to choose, in case there is the godly cunning immortal, you must not neglect. Also, the manifestation of Buddha must also be investigated. The white-haired old man said. Yes, Dean. After speaking, Mu Bing turned into a gust of fragrant wind and left quickly. Dean. Ho Xing shouted. Shut up, don't think this old man doesn't know what you are thinking. Useless thing, immediately go into seclusion for this old man. Within a year, you are forbidden to go out. The white-haired old man shouted. Dean, student, when he saw the fierce light in the white-haired old man's eyes, he immediately closed his mouth. Yes, Dean. After speaking, Ho Xing retreated. Old man Mu Bing. One day, I, Ho Xing, will tear you to pieces. And Luo Luyan, that bitch, pretending to be noble. You wait. Ho Xing thought to himself as he clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard. Then, he turned into a long rainbow and flew back to his mountain peak. Just landed. A long rainbow flew over quickly. After landing, it turned into a man. His elegant appearance, at first glance, made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Brother Ho, why is your face so ugly? The man said. Ho Xing looked back, his face full of anger. Chai Yuan Chu, don't be strange here, still not going to pursue your Mu Bing? Brother Ho doesn't need to worry about this. Today, Brother Ho's position in the dean's mind can be said to have plummeted. Isn't this thanks to Mu Bing? Chai Yuanchu said. Damn Mu Bing, don't let me seize the opportunity. Ho Xing clenched his fists, his face full of resentment. Brother Ho, I have a plan to ensure that you destroy Mu Bing and control Luo Luyan in your hands. You can do whatever you want. Moreover, this matter is unknown. Are you willing to listen? Chai Yuanchu said. You? If you have this ability, you would have used it long ago. Do you still need to run to me? Ho Xing said. Oh, forget it if you don't want to listen, it's hard to be a good person. I think I'd better watch the fire from the shore. After speaking, Chai Yuanchu turned around, turned into a long rainbow, and flew into the sky. That expression, there was no trace of nostalgia. Seeing this scene, Ho Xing frowned and finally shouted, Wait a minute. Oh, you still have something else? Chai Yuanchu stopped and said with a smile. Don't pretend, say it quickly. Ho Xing said. This matter, it's not convenient to say here. Come with me. The two came to the secret room and set up several layers of isolation arrays. Next, Chai Yuanchu spoke. At first, Ho Xing's face was full of resistance. When Chai Yuanchu completely explained the plan, Ho Xing's face became brighter and brighter. It's easy for you to say it. Ho Xing shook his head for a while. Look at this. At this time, Chai Yuanchu took out a space ring and handed it to Ho Xing. He opened it and looked. Ho Xing was surprised, full of disbelief. Great, with these things, I can leave a fake body to face the wall. These two bitches, I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. Ho Xing's body trembled slightly with excitement. It took him a long time to calm down. Say, what is your purpose? Ho Xing said. I just want you to Chai Yuanshu attached to Ho Xing's ear and whispered. After Ho Xing heard it, he nodded again and again. No problem. Chapter 52. Rumring, there is a pavilion on the top floor of the stone tower, take me up to have a look. Sun Hao said. This. A trace of fear appeared on Huang Ruming's face. She clearly remembered that she was unable to get within 100 meters of the top floor of the stone pagoda. It was likely that there were restrictions covering it, making it extremely terrifying. These restrictions are very ancient. It is not a problem for them to destroy a half-immortal. Young Master actually wants to go up, I'm afraid. Rumring, what's wrong? Sun Hao asked. Young Master, it's okay, I will take you up. Huang Ruming said. Thinking of Sun Hao capturing the peerless fierce flood dragon with one hand, Huang Ruming was relieved. Huang Ruming took out a long sword and floated in front of her. Young Master, I will stand in front. Huang Ruming said. No need, just stand behind me. After speaking, Sun Hao leaped lightly and stood on the tip of the sword. His whole person was as stable as Mount Tai. Phew, the two of them rushed up and came to the top of the stone pagoda. Huang Ruming controlled the flying sword and stood 100 meters away, not daring to approach. Buzz, an indistinct restriction blocked the front, causing Huang Ruming's expression to change slightly. Ruming, come closer. Sun Hao looked at the pavilion on the stone tower, his eyes shining. This space was shaped like a pavilion, but it was much larger than a pavilion. Wouldn't it be great to set up tables and chairs, play the zither, paint, drink tea, and chat while enjoying the beautiful scenery? Thinking so, Sun Hao stretched out his right hand. Young Master, little, before he finished his words. Kacha. The seal collapsed and split open like a piece of paper. This, Huang Ruming was stunned. Looking at Sun Hao, the light of worship shone inextinguishable. Young Master broke this ancient restriction with just his physical body. This is too terrifying. From the look of the young Master, it seems that there are no restrictions. Young Master, you are so powerful. His methods and strength were unimaginable. The more she looked, the more Huang Ruming could not see through Sun Hao. Shocking almighty being? A peerless ruler? A supreme immortal? Everything was possible. Ruming, take me in. Sun Hao said. Yes, young Master. Huang Ruming took a few deep breaths and felt much better. What a nice view. On the top floor of the stone tower, Sun Hao looked into the distance with a smile on his face. Yes, young Master. Huang Ruming stood beside Sun Hao and nodded slightly. I want to paint now, Ru Meng, please help me get the tools. Sun Hao said. All right. Huang Ruming nodded. After a while, Sun Hao spread out the rice paper and picked up the brush. The brush moved like dragons and snakes, and an ink landscape appeared vividly on the paper. On the paper, a man and a woman were standing on top of a mountain, looking at the mountains. Under the layers of clouds and mist was a continuous mountain range. This scene was extremely compatible with the current concept. Although the silhouette was blurry, the artistic conception was profound, making it hard for others to look away. Sun Hao picked up the pen and waved it again. In the blank space, he wrote 2 lines. When I reach the top, I look at all the mountains. The ascent to height painting was thus completed. Looking at the painting, Huang Ruming stood there in a daze, motionless. The scenery in front of her had completely changed. It was as if she was already standing in the painting, and the woman in the painting had become her. Phew! The wind and clouds in the painting surged rapidly. The surrounding spiritual energy, no, immortal energy rushed over. Huang Ruming clearly felt that her strength was rapidly increasing. After a while, Kacha. On her body, the layer of membrane that blocked the cultivation base cracked with a sound. At this moment, she reached the first stage of the ascendant realm. There were 2 natural chasms between the ascendant realm and the immortal realm. The first was the transformation of spiritual power. This process was extremely slow. Ordinary cultivators generally took 1,000 years. Even if it was a monster, it would take at least 100 years. The process of spiritual power transformation was divided into 10 steps. Every 10% transformation, the strength would explode several times, so it was divided into 10 steps. Unexpectedly, in just 10 days, she had advanced from the crossing calamity realm to the first stage of the ascendant realm. If this were to be said, I am afraid that the old monster who has been sleeping for countless years would jump out. Everything was thanks to the young master. Huang Rumeng looked at Sun Hao with admiration, gratitude, and love written all over her face. Young master! Huang Rumeng ran quickly and hugged Sun Hao tightly. Rumeng! A fragrant wind went straight into the nose. There was a softness in his chest. In some places, it was uncontrollable, like a dragon soaring into the sky, unstoppable. Huang Rumeng sensed the strangeness of Sun Hao's body, and her face was slightly red. She hugged him tightly and didn't dare to move. Sun Hao didn't dare to move. Huang Rumeng was a cultivator. He was just a mortal. If he were to dual cultivate with her, he might use too much force. Gotcha! It was cut off. Just thinking about it gave him a lingering fear. He would have to wait until he could cultivate and reach the same level of strength. Young master, are you home? At this moment, a voice came from outside the courtyard. Huang Rumeng quickly let go of Sun Hao and stood aside with a red face. It's them. In Sun Hao's eyes, a strange light bloomed, and he could harvest the blessing point again. It had been almost 2 days since he returned from Jiangyang City. As for Huang Rumeng, as early as a few days ago, she was unable to obtain blessing point. He didn't know if it was because they were too familiar with each other, or if there was a limit. Today, when they came over, they could harvest a wave of blessing point. Rumeng, take me down, Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. After the two of them landed, they opened the courtyard door. Greetings, young master. Seeing Sun Hao, Chen Daoming, Luo Luyan, and Su Yiling saluted respectfully. Sun Hao cupped his fists. Brother Chen, did you come together? Yes, young master. Chen Daoming stood up. In his eyes, there was incomparable reverence. He took out a jade bottle and handed it to Sun Hao. Young master, a little something, please accept it. Bring a gift again? Really exquisite. Cultivators were polite. Brother Chen, you are so polite. Sun Hao took the jade bottle, opened it, and a fragrance came. Inside it was an elixir that was flowing with purple light. At first glance, it was not an ordinary thing. This thing, I will definitely use it in the future. Thank you, Brother Chen, please come inside, Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Chen Daoming nodded and strode in. Luo Luyan and Su Yiling looked sad when they saw this scene. This time, they didn't bring a gift for the young master, and they really didn't have the face to go in. Miss Luyan, Miss Yiling, don't be stunned, come in quickly, Sun Hao said. The two women looked sluggish, wanting to enter but not daring to enter. Sister Luyan, Sister Yiling, don't dawdle. Huang Rumeng walked to the side of the two women and pulled them into the courtyard. 1,000-color god lotus. Chen Daoming's face changed drastically when he saw the lotus in the pond. It had only been a month, but unexpectedly, the demon lotus had grown thousands of petals. So many petals, this strength, I am afraid, is unimaginable. Chen Daoming looked at the 1,000-color god lotus, his eyes full of awe. If this goes on, it won't be long before it becomes a 1,000-color god lotus. At that time, how terrifying would the strength of this lotus demon be? Thinking about it, it made people afraid. Chapter 53. Brother Chen, ladies, since we all know each other, let's finish our meal before leaving. Today you are in luck, Sun Hao said. Many thanks, young master. Before waiting for others to answer, Su Yiling spoke first. Ever since he ate the white porridge and carrots last time, he had tasted the marrow and craved the taste. It was hard to forget. To be able to freeload a meal at the young master's place was something that could not be achieved even in several lifetimes. Luo Luoyan opened her mouth, unable to say anything more. Young master, then I'll go cook. Huang Rumeng said. Okay. Sun Hao nodded. I'll go help. Luo Luoyan and the two women quickly followed Huang Rumeng. At the scene, only Sun Hao and Chen Daoming were left. Chen Daoming lowered his head, looking nervous. Brother Chen, come, let's drink some tea. Yes, young master. Chen Daoming nodded, his face full of expectations. The two of them sat down. Sun Hao said, Brother Chen, we drank Biluakun and Hong Pao last time. This time, let's change the taste and drink Tai Guanyin. Tai Guanyin? In Chen Daoming's eyes there was a trace of doubt. Clearly, he had never heard of this name before. Sun Hao smiled slightly and began to brew tea. Brother Chen, have you been to Jiangyang City recently? Sun Hao asked. As soon as these words came out, Chen Daoming trembled. The test had come. Later on, I must remember every word of young master. No, he had to remember every expression and every movement. If I can't comprehend it myself, I'll look for Senior Luoyan to discuss it. Chen Daoming secretly made a decision, his expression extremely dignified. Young master, I have been there. Have you ever seen a human puppet? Sun Hao asked. Jiangyang City, human puppet? What was the young master hinting at? Young master, I have seen him. Chen Daoming answered truthfully. Hearing this, Sun Hao looked at Chen Daoming with admiration on his face. To be able to escape from that invulnerable monster, it proved that this kid's strength was not bad. The puppet clan is a kind of evil race? Then do you know if there are other evil races besides the puppet race? Sun Hao asked. Young master, in addition to the human puppet clan, there are also the corpse puppet clan, the heart-devouring clan, the soul puppet clan. Chen Daoming began to introduce seriously. Every race was introduced in great detail. When Sun Hao heard this, he frowned secretly. The wretched state of the waiter from 2 days ago still lingered in his mind. His head was bitten through and his brain was drunk clean. It was simply too terrifying. Such a race should not exist in this world. Sun Hao threw the dead branch in his hand heavily. Hua, the withered branch fell straight into the jasper lake, causing ripples. Chen Daoming looked at this scene and was shocked. The young master wants me to destroy the evil race. I understand. Chen Daoming clenched his fists, and his eyes shone with excitement. Brother Chen, I'm sorry for making you laugh. Sun Hao withdrew his emotions and sat down again. Where? Chen Daoming said. Phew, the fragrance of the tea wafted into the backyard. Gua gua, at this moment a duck quacked. After Chen Daoming heard it, he looked up. Seeing the scene in the sky, Chen Daoming's pupils shrank, and his face changed dramatically. This is the 9 heavens god Luan, my god! Is it here to steal young master's tea? It's over, in front of this kind of beast, I can't even move a finger. Chen Daoming muttered to himself, and his face was pale. He stared blankly at the 9 heavens god Luan descending from the sky, powerless. The huge wings seemed to be able to cover the entire sky. The wind was blowing everywhere, whistling incessantly. Boundless pressure surged forth. Chen Daoming stood in place like a statue. It's not that he didn't want to move, but he couldn't move at all. How can there be a 9 heavens god Luan here? Too terrible. In the next second, he was even more frightened. He saw that after the divine Luan landed, it turned into the size of a rooster. At this time, the pressure on his body suddenly disappeared. The divine Luan quickly walked to Sun Hao's side and kept rubbing its neck on Sun Hao's trousers. He looked like a dog trying to curry favor with his master. My God! Is the 9 heavens god Luan trying to please the young master? Is it not here to rob the young master's treasure? Is it raised by the young master? Thinking about it, boom! Like a thunderbolt in his mind, he couldn't calm down for a long time. It was terrible. The pet raised by the young master turned out to be the Nine Heavens god Luan. My ancestor, raising a divine beast as a pet? In this world, apart from the young master, who can do it? How strong is the young master? Unimaginable. The young master is so powerful, then what about the master behind him, the Grandmaster of Heaven? That is simply a supreme existence. At this point, hiss, Chen Daoming took a few breaths, and his body trembled violently. Xiaoying, do you want to drink? Sun Hao said. This name was given by Huang Rumeng, so Sun Hao also called it this way. Quack! Yu nodded like a chicken pecking rice. No, the guests haven't drunk yet, how can you move first? After speaking, Sun Hao poured a cup of tea for Chen Daoming and handed it to him. Chen Daoming sensed Yu's unkind eyes, and his expression stagnated. Brother Chen, drink. Sun Hao raised his glass. This, young master, feed it a cup. Chen Daoming said. No hurry. Sun Hao seemed to find something wrong. He looked at Yu's body like a fighting cock and couldn't help but frown slightly. This guy doesn't want to live. Daring to stare at the cultivator like this, if he goes crazy and kills you with a knife, he can't protect himself. He is a master who can survive in front of the puppet. Really not sensible. Sun Hao looked at Yu and said, Why are you staring at the guests like this? Don't be honest, or I will make you into a roast chicken. As soon as these words came out, Yu was scared out of his wits. He hurriedly lay at Sun Hao's feet, shivering. Chen Daoming looked at this scene, and his heart was in turmoil, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. In front of the young master, the divine beast also had to lie down. What is the identity of the young master? It is so terrifying. Brother Chen, drink. Sun Hao raised his cup. Thank you, young master. Chen Daoming also raised his cup and took a sip. The fragrance of tea overflowed and filled his mouth. After the tea entered his mouth, it turned into a stream of extremely pure immortal power, rushing to the meridians of the whole body. Through the meridians, it improved the body and meridians. At this moment, Chen Daoming sensed that his body was rapidly strengthening. Immortal tea. Chen Daoming's heart trembled, and his face was full of shock. With a small sip, his body became several times stronger. After this cup, his body would be hundreds of times stronger? Chen Daoming looked at Sun Hao, and his eyes were full of gratitude. Young master, don't worry, I will eradicate the evil race. A cup of tea went down. Chen Daoming's body became 1,000 times stronger. He was afraid that even a high-grade spirit weapon would not be able to hurt him. If he faced Xue Sha now, Chen Daoming was confident that he could punch him into dust. Young master's great kindness, I can't repay it. Chen Daoming looked at Sun Hao with a grateful face. Another cup. Sun Hao didn't wait for Chen Daoming to react and continued to pour him a cup. Just now, this guy drank a cup of tea, and he got 100 blessing points. How could he not give him another cup? Chapter 54. Chen Daoming looked at the cup in front of him, and his eyes were full of emotions. This immortal tea was not inferior to the Tao comprehension tea at all. Every cup of tea was a supreme fortune. Thank you, Chen Daoming said. Brother Chen, it's just a cup of tea. It's not worth mentioning. Come drink it, Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Chen Daoming continued to drink. He didn't dare to drink too much and only savored it carefully. Chen Daoming's action was clearly captured by Sun Hao. Looks like Brother Chen likes my tea very much. Sun Hao nodded secretly, stood up quietly, and walked into the house. A moment later, Sun Hao picked up a few bags of tea and walked out. After Chen Daoming finished drinking, Sun Hao said, Brother Chen, does it taste good? Delicious? This was immortal tea. Furthermore, it was an immortal tea that could temper one's physical body. This was something that could not be bought with money. How could it be delicious? Young master, it's delicious. Chen Daoming nodded. Do you like it? Sun Hao said with a smile. I like it. Chen Daoming nodded. Since you like it, Brother Chen, take some back to drink. After speaking, Sun Hao handed 3 bags of tea to Chen Daoming. Chen Daoming's scalp was numb, and a sense of uneasiness was written on his face. After he nervously opened it, he was dumbfounded. This is Tao Enlightenment Tea. There are thousands of them, Patriarch. This is Supreme Spirit Tea, Immortal Tea. There are thousands of them. A single tea leaf was already a peerless treasure. How could he dare to accept so many? Young master, this, Chen Daoming's heart was beating wildly, and he took a few long breaths, but he could not calm down. These tea leaves completely shattered his worldview. It was simply unimaginable. What's wrong? Sun Hao said. Young master, I can't take it. Chen Daoming said. Let's not talk about how expensive this thing is. His strength alone was far from enough to protect such a thing. If news of him obtaining so many peerless treasures were to spread, he would definitely be blasted into ashes. What? Do you look down on my things? Sun Hao's face had a trace of anger. Hearing this, Chen Daoming's body trembled. Young master was angry. Could it be that the young master had a deeper meaning for giving him these tea leaves? That must be it. I wonder what young master's intentions are. He had to think carefully. Since that was the case, he had to accept the tea leaf. Chen Daoming thought secretly, holding the tea leaves in his hand. Young master, naturally not, but these things are too precious. Chen Daoming said. It's good that Brother Chen doesn't mind. Sun Hao said. In that case, many thanks, young master. After Chen Daoming finished, he put the 3 bags of tea into the space ring. Ding, blessing points plus 300. A sound rang out. After Sun Hao heard it, his eyes sparkled. As expected, a few bags of tea leaves had reaped so many blessing points. Not bad at all. Now, the total blessing points had reached 8,400. It was very likely that it would break through 10,000 today. What should I give to those 2 ladies later? They seem to like calligraphy and paintings. Then give them calligraphy and paintings. Thinking like this, Sun Hao secretly made a decision. Not long after, the meal was ready. The 5 of them took their seat. There were 6 dishes on the table. Stir-fried lettuce, vinegar shredded potatoes, mapo tofu. There wasn't even the slightest bit of meat. However, in the eyes of Chen Daoming and the others, their eyes bloomed with a strange light. Just smelling the fragrance, his stomach cried out unconsciously. These things, without tasting, knew that they were all supreme elixirs. Usually, a supreme elixir was difficult to find. When the elixir matured, it would generally produce a vision, attracting countless cultivators to come to compete. The powerful ones might be able to seize the elixir. The weak ones would either die or be envious by the side. For a long time, they could only stand by with envy and jealousy. In the young master's place, these things were like home-cooked dishes, not worth mentioning. Who could compare with the young master in today's world? Rumring, the remaining half of the eel should be stewed. Help me get it. Yes, young master. Huang Rumling quickly retreated. Miss Lu Yen, Miss Yiling, Brother Chen, this time I caught a big eel, and there is still half left, just enough for us to eat. Sun Hao said. Eel? The young master actually liked to eat this kind of vulgar thing. With these elixirs to eat, how could he still eat that kind of vulgar thing? However, in front of the young master, he had to eat 2 bites. Thank you, young master. After a while, Huang Rumring carried a large clay pot and placed it on the table. The lid of the pot was opened. The steaming hot steam rose straight up. The boiling white soup was like a pot of boiling water. A unique fragrance came to their faces. When the steam evaporated, boom! It was like the 9th heaven, divine thunder blasted into their heads. Luo Luyen and the other 2 looked at the head in the big clay pot, and they were all stunned in place. Is this an eel? This is clearly a flood dragon. In the entire western regions, The place where there is a flood dragon is only the ghost dragon lake. That peerless fierce flood dragon swallowed an 8th-class sect every month, leaving no survivors in the entire sect. Despite this, the peerless fierce flood dragon was still alive. Even the Supreme Court did not dare to obliterate it, because this fierce flood dragon was a branch member of the ancient dragon clan. Even if it was tyrannical in the human race powerhouses could only swallow their anger. Could it be that the flood dragon in the pot was that peerless fierce flood dragon? The young master even dared to eat the dragon race? Thinking of this, the three of them trembled and they sucked in cold air. In today's world, who else has such courage as the young master? Young master, did you catch this eel in the ghost dragon lake? Luo Luoyan asked. Hey, Miss Luoyan, do you know? Sun Hao's face showed a trace of surprise. Hiss, Luo Luoyan and the other two took a breath of cold air. Sure enough, the young master caught this peerless fierce flood dragon. Guys, don't just stand there, eat. Sun Hao's voice awakened the three of them. Seeing Sun Hao move his chopsticks, the others followed in turn. Luo Luoyan picked up a piece of fierce flood dragon meat, and her chopsticks trembled slightly. This peerless fierce flood dragon actually became a piece of meat on her chopsticks. This feeling was like a dream, very unreal. The flood dragon meat was sent into her mouth. Fragrant. The incomparably mellow aroma filled the entire mouth cavity. The taste buds on the tongue, at this moment, were all active. The flood dragon meat melted in her mouth, and the power of immortal and spirit rushed through her whole body. Luo Luoyan could clearly sense that her strength was rapidly increasing. A moment later, Kacha, the membrane of the realm instantly burst. At this moment, she reached the Mahayana realm. Just a mouthful of flood dragon meat, and her strength increased so much. If she ate 2 more mouthfuls, how would it be? Luo Luoyan was not polite. She ate silently. None of the 5 people spoke, and they ate by themselves. Sun Hao also didn't want to break the atmosphere of eating at the moment. On his face, there was a faint smile. Even if she was a cultivator, so what? Above the world? That was because she didn't eat delicious food. In front of her own delicious food, would she still have to obediently surrender? Ding, blessing point +5. Ding, blessing point +3. Such a prompt sounded once from time to time. After Sun Hao heard it, he was even more comfortable. Soon after. Perfect Mahayana realm. Luo Luoyan's face showed a trace of regret. If time could go back to the day of eating with the young master, she would have to finish eating before leaving. If she finished eating that day, maybe she would have reached the Crossing Calamity realm now. Reaching this realm, in the entire western region, she could also be regarded as a strong person. What a pity! Luo Luoyan looked at the whole table of dishes, only a little soup left, and couldn't help but sigh. Quack! At this time, a duck sounded. A golden pheasant surrounded Sun Hao, quacking. Luo Luoyan looked up and her pupils shrank. Such a good-looking golden pheasant? No. This was the 9 Heavens God Luan. God. 9 Heavens God Luan was the young master's pet. How was this possible? When had this kind of beast ever been raised by anyone? When had it ever fawned on its master like a dog? What the hell happened here? At this moment, Luo Luoyan's worldview was completely broken. Chapter 55. Under Luo Luoyan's stunned gaze, Sun Hao picked up the remaining leftovers, put them in a bowl, and sent them to Yingyu. Croak! Yingyu began to eat in big mouthfuls. Seeing this scene in Luo Luoyan's eyes, she could not calm down for a long time. How could a dignified divine beast end up like this? No. It should be said that this was the fortune of the 9 Heavens God Luan. It seemed that the young master's realm was far beyond his imagination. Hiss, Luo Luoyan took a few breaths. This is too delicious. This is the best thing I've ever eaten. Su Yiling touched her round belly with a look of satisfaction. This meal not only satisfied his appetite, but it also caused his strength to soar. Now, he had reached the middle stage of the insightful void realm. Furthermore, there was still a lot of undigested food in his stomach. Once he digested all of it, he might even reach the Mahayana realm. Reaching the Mahayana realm at the age of 20? Let me ask, in the whole world, who can do it except me, Su Yiling? However, all of this fortune depends on the young master. Thinking of this, Su Yiling looked at Sun Hao with gratitude. Since you like it, come often in the future. Sun Hao said. Young master, really? Su Yiling's eyes flashed with a strange light. A little home-cooked food, as long as Miss Yiling likes it, then come often. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Su Yiling looked moved. Chen Daoming was also stunned at the moment. He broke through from the nascent soul realm to the void transformation realm in an instant. He had crossed 2 realms in a row. This feeling of soaring was incomparably comfortable. All of this was because of the young master. Chen Daoming muttered, clenching his fists. Young master. Luo Luyan wanted to speak but stopped. Miss Luyan, just say it. Sun Hao said. Young master, the painting scroll you gave to Yiling last time was destroyed by me. After speaking, Luo Luyan took out a picture scroll and presented it to Sun Hao. Hearing this, Sun Hao's eyes flashed. It just so happened that he could give them the paintings. Sun Hao picked it up and opened it. He couldn't help but frown slightly. All the ink on it disappeared. This lovesickness painting was painted by him before his painting skills reached a supreme level. The use of paper and ink was very ordinary. Now, the one he was using was on a whole new level. Even if he gave it to them, it wouldn't fade. Miss Luyan, don't worry about it. Since the 2 ladies like it, I'll give you 2 more. After speaking, Sun Hao quickly ran back to the house, took out 2 scrolls, 1 for each person, and handed them to the 2 women. Young master, how can this be? The 2 women's expressions changed slightly, and they waved their hands repeatedly. This time, he didn't bring any gift. It was already embarrassing enough that he was still freeloading. How could he have the face to accept such a peerless treasure? What? You don't like it? Sun Hao pulled a long face and looked a little angry. Seeing this scene, the 2 women shuddered. How could he not like her? It was because he didn't dare to accept it. Young master seemed to be very angry. He had no choice but to pick it up. The 2 girls looked at each other and took the scroll. Thank you, young master. The 2 women clasped their fists. You're too polite. Sun Hao's face showed a touch of joy. These shoujo were really strange. He had given them gifts out of goodwill, but they actually rejected this and that. Their faces darkened slightly, but they accepted it. Could it be? Were they afraid of him? Impossible. Sun Hao shook his head slightly. He was a mortal, how could they be afraid of him? If they weren't afraid of him, then they were afraid of the master behind him? This feeling was pretty good. It seemed that Chen Daoming had told the 2 about his master behind him. It was not good to spread it like this. One day it would be revealed. He had to find a way to stop them from continuing to disclose. Brother Chen, do you know Miss Luyan? Sun Hao asked. Yes, young master, we are fellow Taoists, Chen Daoming said. Turned out to be so. It seemed that the relationship was not ordinary. Very good, between fellow Taoists we should help each other, Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Chen Daoming's body trembled. Could it be? Chen Daoming's eyes shone. By the way, Brother Chen, Master is traveling around the world and will not come back for a while. This matter must not be told to others, you know, Sun Hao said solemnly. As soon as these words came out, Chen Daoming's 3 faces changed slightly. The 3 thought carefully with a puzzled face. Young master, rest assured, no third person knows about this except us, Chen Daoming said. Young master, since you told me this, we will never say it. Luo Luyan and the other 2 women also stood up, full of promises. Hearing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed. With their guarantee, at least the speed of transmission would be much slower. When they reacted, he could already cultivate. So, thank you 3. Sun Hao said. Young master, you are welcome. Young master, it's getting late, we will leave first today. Luo Luoyan took the lead to stand up and salute with her fist. Have a cup of tea before you go? Sun Hao said. When Su Yiling heard this, her eyes shone. When she was about to answer, she was glared at by Luo Luoyan and stopped talking. Young master, thank you, I will not disturb you today, I will visit you another day. Luo Luoyan said. That's fine, take care. Chen Daoming and the other 2 were sent away. In Sun Hao's eyes, his eyes were shining. Today it could be said to be a big profit. He had obtained more than 4,000 blessing points, and the total blessing points had exceeded 10,000. Harvesting blessing points turned out to be so simple. The more willing, the more blessing points he would harvest. Next time when they come over, he would try to send them more. If this goes on, he believed that he would be able to start cultivating in the near future. Young master, what makes you so happy? Huang Ruming asked. Hearing this, Sun Hao was slightly startled. Then, he showed an inscrutable smile. Ruming, soon, I will be able to cultivate, and at that time, I will protect you. Huang Ruming looked surprised, and her face was full of joy. So, the young master's experience of the mortal world is coming to an end? The young master said to protect me? Wouldn't that mean that after the experience of the mortal world, he would not forget himself? Thinking about it, Huang Ruming blushed for a while, and a happy smile was written all over her face. Young master, thank you, Huang Ruming said. Ruming, don't be polite to me. Sun Hao pretended to be angry. Okay, young master. Huang Ruming nodded slightly and quickly cleaned up the dishes and chopsticks on the table. Young master, I will wash the dishes first, and you will teach me how to play the guqin later. Ruming, let me wash it today. I always let you wash it, how can I be embarrassed? Sun Hao said. Young master, don't fight with Ruming for this little thing. Otherwise, Ruming will feel that she is useless. Huang Ruming said. That's fine, after washing we will play the guqin. Okay. Looking at Huang Ruming's back, Sun Hao felt like a dream, extremely unreal. Ruming's strength is so strong, if I can also cultivate, that would be great. Ruming, you wait, I will try my best to catch up with you. Chapter 56. Luo Luoyan walked on the road with a solemn face. Fellow Taoist Chen, I just thought about it all the way, but I couldn't understand the young master's meaning. Did he guide you? Luo Luoyan asked. Chen Daoming looked nervous, looked around and lowered his voice. Fellow Taoist Luo, this is not the place to talk, can you find a safe place? Okay. Luo Luoyan nodded. Fellow Taoist Chen, then come with me to Jade Lake Palace to talk. Okay. The 2 got up, turned into a long rainbow, and flew away quickly. Master, wait for me. Su Yiling followed closely. 1 day later, the 3 came to a secret room in Jade Lake Palace. After sitting down, Chen Daoming said, the young master said that the evil race should not exist in the world. What he means should be for me to eradicate the evil race. Yes, that's what I mean, but it's impossible for you to eradicate the evil race alone. Luo Luoyan shook her head slightly, indicating that she could not understand. Fellow Taoist Luo, these are the 3 bags of tea that the young master gave me. I didn't accept them, and the young master was angry. It must be related to the young master's test. After speaking, Chen Daoming took 3 bags of tea. As soon as this thing came out, Luo Luoyan and Luo Luoyan were stunned in place, and they did not recover for a long time. Buzz, Luo Luoyan quickly arranged a series of formations, covering the surroundings. These things, I'm afraid that if they flow out, it will lead to a fatal disaster. The young master gave you such a precious thing, I'm afraid there is a deep meaning in this matter. Luo Luoyan said. I think so too. After Chen Daoming finished, he began to think. Su Yiling stood aside, scratching her head from time to time, with a confused face. The young master gave you this tea, isn't it for drinking? How can it be so simple? Don't cross. Luo Luoyan shouted softly. Su Yiling spat out her tongue and sat weakly. Suddenly. Understood. Chen Daoming patted his thigh with a happy face. Fellow Taoist Chen, you say it? Luo Luoyan looked forward to it. Fellow Taoist Luo, the young master first reminded me that the evil race should not exist in the world. This is to tell me to eradicate them. Then, he handed me 3 bags of tea, referring to the 3 of us, meaning that the 3 of us are the center, representing the young master to eradicate the evil race. The young master also said that fellow Taoists should help each other. He must want us to recruit talents and fight against the evil race together. These 3 bags of tea may be the reward from the young master. Chen Daoming said. Hearing this, Luo Luoyan nodded secretly, showing a look of understanding. You're right. However, how is this person going to confess? If he's too strong, I'm afraid he'll be disloyal. If he's too weak, he's not a match for the evil race. Besides, where is the nest of the evil race? Where would they attack next? What are the young master's instructions? Luo Luoyan said. This question made Chen Daoming speechless. Taoist Luo, what do you think? Chen Daoming asked. You first tell me every word and every action that the young master said. Luo Luoyan said. All right. Next, Chen Daoming told the situation when he saw Sun Hao yesterday. When Chen Daoming said that Sun Hao had accidentally lost a dead branch, his eyes flashed. Withered branches? Pool? No, that was Jade Pool. Could it be that it represented Jade Pool? The young master meant that the evil race would attack the Jade Pool Palace? God! At this point, Luo Luoyan's whole body was cold. She said her analysis, and Chen Daoming was shocked and his body trembled. Senior Luo, your perception is so good. With the temper of the evil race, you killed so many of their people, and it's natural to attack the Jade Pool Palace. Chen Daoming said. Thank you so much for your guidance. Otherwise, we won't even know how we died. Luo Luoyan showed a look of fear. The evil race will definitely come this time to shock the tiger. The strong person sent must be by no means simple. I wonder if the young master has any other instructions? Luo Luoyan said. Taoist Luo, those 2 paintings. Chen Daoming said. Yes. Luo Luoyan took out one of the paintings and slowly unfolded it. This was a green pine painting. Thousands of miles of ice, thousands of miles of snow. A green pine stood proudly, fighting against the wind and snow. On it there was a sentence. The heavy snow pressed the green pine, and the green pine was straight and upright. That kind of unyielding will and Tao rhyme rose continuously and rushed out. After seeing it, the 3 people couldn't help but change their faces. Such a terrifying Tao rhyme, at least 10,000 times stronger than that Ling Shi painting! The young master is really terrifying. Luo Luoyan murmured, her face full of shock. Putting aside the Tao rhyme, just look at the picture. Chen Daoming and Luo Luoyan watched for a long time, but they couldn't think of anything. Hey, change it. Okay. Next, another picture scroll was unfolded. This was a climbing high painting. When you reach the top, you can see all the mountains are small. That kind of domineering, that kind of supreme feeling surged all over your body. On the painting scroll, the clouds seemed to flow out. A man and a woman were looking at the scenery? What does this mean? The 2 were very close, and it seemed that this meant that they needed to join forces. Was it that simple? Luo Luoyan frowned, thinking about it, but she didn't understand what it meant. Taoist Chen, can you understand anything? Luo Luoyan asked. Hey, no. Chen Daoming sighed heavily, looking helpless. The young master's test is too difficult. Yes. The 2 continued to stare at the painting scroll, frowning and thinking deeply. Su Yiling held her head in her hands and sighed. Master, when will you be done? It's so boring. However, the 2 did not respond to her. Su Yiling was like a transparent person. Master's brain is so good, but you can't figure it out. What is this painting? Su Yiling walked forward, and when she saw the climbing high painting, she couldn't help but exclaim, "What a beautiful cloud, what a beautiful blue sky!" Hearing this, Luo Liuyen's body trembled. She seemed to have caught something, but she couldn't figure it out. The sky? Isn't the sky the heavens? The young master deliberately painted the blue sky so big. Isn't this the Supreme Court? She was so stupid that she couldn't figure it out. It was so stupid. I know, this refers to the Supreme Court, Luo Liuyen said. When Chen Daoming heard it, he showed a look of sudden realization. Taoist Luo, your perception, I can't catch up with it. Chen Daoming's face was full of admiration. No. Luo Liuyen breathed a sigh of relief, with doubts on her face. Although the young master pointed out the Supreme Court, what does this mean? Does the young master mean that there are evil races in the Supreme Court? Or should we join forces with the Supreme Court to fight against the evil races? What does this painting, green pine painting, mean? Luo Liuyen said. Chen Daoming listened to these and shook his head for a while. The young master's instructions are too profound. Yes. Luo Liuyen sighed secretly, looking dispirited. At this time, Palace Master, the people of the Supreme Court are here. The voice of the disciple sounded outside the door. Chapter 57. Over the Jade Lake Palace, a flying boat floated in the sky. On the flying ship, a blue-robed woman held a jade slip in her hand and read it carefully. On the jade slip, it was written, "The rumor of Jiangyang City is true. There is a sea of blood, and the evil spirits were killed by Buddha. It seems that the Nirvana realm is born." Seeing this news, the blue-clothed woman nodded slightly. Has Elysium really appeared? Then this matter is easy to understand. The woman in blue was none other than the student of the Supreme Court, Mu Bing. There was no sadness or joy on her face. It was as if nothing in this world could affect her. In that case, the godly cunning immortal is indeed non-existent. Liuyen, I don't know what realm the master you are talking about has reached. Can you take a palm strike from me? But you really surprised me a little. You've actually attained the void interpretation realm. Mu Bing muttered to herself as she slowly floated down from the sky. Follow me down. Yes. Hundreds of men and women wearing blue clothes and holding long swords followed behind Mu Bing and flew down. Overall, he looked like an immortal descending to the mortal world, handsome to the extreme. After a while, they landed on the square of Jade Lake Palace. Fellow practitioner Mu, your presence really brings light to Jade Lake Palace. At this time, Luo Liuyen came forward with the disciples and saluted. The moment she saw Luo Liuyen, Mu Bing's pupils shrank slightly. He has actually reached the Mahayana realm? How is this possible? Mu Bing murmured as her mind raced. She remembered that when Luo Liuyen left the Supreme Court, she was only in the nascent soul realm. At that time, he had already reached the perfected hollowness realm. After so many years, he had only reached the early stage of the crossing calamity, although he had been suppressing his cultivation level in recent years. But overall, the progress was rather slow. She, on the other hand, had reached the Mahayana realm. She was only one step away from catching up to him. Although he and Luo Liuyen were good friends, he was a genius of the Supreme Court, and Luo Liuyen was just a waste disciple. Mu Bing said indifferently, "What? Am I not welcome?" Haha, Luo Liuyen laughed and said, "Fellow Taoist Mu, you are still so otherworldly. What you cultivate is the sword Tao, not the heartless Tao." "What does that matter?" Mu Bing nodded. "Fellow Taoist Mu, please come in. Let's have tea and chat." Luo Liuyen said, "There's no need for tea. This time, I have something to ask you." Mu Bing said. Luo Liuyen shook her head secretly. She was also going to borrow a piece of enlightenment tea from fellow Taoist Chen. Since she didn't want to drink it, he could save himself the favor. "Let's chat inside." After they entered the hall and sat down, Mu Bing was the first to speak. "Fellow practitioner Luo, Have you heard of the invasion of evil spirits in Jiangyang City? Naturally, I was at the scene, Luo Luyan said. So, it was you who saved the entire Jiangyang City? Mu Bing asked. No. Luo Luyan shook her head for a while. This has nothing to do with me. What do you mean? Mu Bing asked. Because all of this was guided by an expert. The one who destroyed the Earth Fiend was also that expert. And I am just a thug at best, Luo Luyan said. So, there really is the godly cunning immortal? Mu Bing asked. Godly cunning immortal? Luo Luyan looked puzzled. Oh, this is the name that the cultivators of the world gave to the master behind you, Mu Bing said. Understood. Luo Luyan nodded. Fellow Taoist Luo, can you take me to see that master? Mu Bing said. This. Luo Luyan showed a difficult look, and then she shook her head secretly. Fellow Taoist Mu, I'm really sorry, that master likes quiet and doesn't like to be disturbed. I'm afraid it's not appropriate for me to take you there rashly. Like quiet? That's a good excuse. It seemed that there was no master at all. The one who destroyed the Earth Fiend was a master of Elysium. Take this kind of credit to the master behind her? Mu Bing laughed secretly, but there was no change on her face. She was about to get up and leave. At this time, fellow Taoist Luo, I understand. Chen Daoming rushed into the hall and said loudly. When he saw Mu Bing, he clasped his fist and saluted. Greetings, fellow Taoist Mu. Seeing Chen Daoming, Mu Bing's face changed slightly. There is actually a male cultivator in this Jade Lake Palace? Did she change to the emotional path? Mu Bing nodded slightly, and her face did not change. Really? Luo Luyan quickly stood up and ran to Chen Daoming. Let's go. The two quickly walked out of the hall and came to a secret room. Fellow Taoist Luo, this green pine painting, doesn't it refer to Mu Bing? Chen Daoming said. Mu Bing? Does this have anything to do with Mu Bing? Luo Luyan frowned secretly, and then showed a look of surprise. This green pine refers to wood, Mu Tong Mu. And the icebound thousands of miles secretly refers to ice. It happens to refer to Mu Bing. It turns out that the young master had already calculated that Mu Bing would come, and gave us these two paintings, which had already hinted at everything. I didn't expect that we were so stupid that we only understood it now. Luo Luyan took a few deep breaths, showing a happy face. Fellow Taoist Chin, thank you. You're welcome. I only realized it when I saw Mu Bing coming. I'm ashamed. Chen Daoming said. So, the young master wants us to join forces with Mu Bing to fight against the evil race? Luo Luyan said. It seems that this is the case. Then I will take her to see the young master. I will trouble fellow Taoist Chen to help Yiling and lay out the Jade Lake Palace together to prevent the evil race from taking advantage of it. Luo Luyan said. Master, I want to go with you too. Su Yiling said. What are you going to do? Luo Luyan said. I'm going. She wanted to say that she was going to freeload, but Su Yiling really couldn't pull her face. Besides, her stomach was still quite bloated now, and it had not been fully absorbed. Do you want to freeload again? There are no gifts for the young master. Are you embarrassed to go? Luo Luyan said. Su Yiling was speechless and helpless. Stay in the Jade Lake Palace and cultivate. It's up to you to fight against the evil race. The young master's painting, keep it with you. In case of danger, it will save your life. After speaking, Luo Luyan ran out. Back to the hall, she saw that Mu Bing had disappeared. Without saying a word, she hurried out. Fellow Taoist Mu, wait. Seeing that Mu Bing had already flown up, Luo Luyan hurriedly spoke. What's the matter? Mu Bing said. Fellow Taoist Mu, there is indeed something. This is not the place to talk, let's talk inside. Luo Luyan said. That's good. Under the leadership of Luo Luyan, the two were taken to a secret room. Fellow Taoist Mu, I didn't understand the young master's meaning before. Now I understand. Luo Luyan said. When these words reached Mu Bing's ears, she was confused for a while. What young master? What do you understand? I'm sorry, I spoke too hastily. The young master is the expert behind me. He is an unimaginable existence. Now, he is experiencing the mortal world as a mortal. He instructed us to destroy the entire evil race. He calculated that the evil race will soon attack my Jade Lake Palace, and let you and I join forces to fight against the evil race. Chapter 58. An unimaginable existence? Calculate everything? Experience the world as a mortal? Hearing this, Mu Bing sneered in her heart. What a good imagination! Worshipping a mortal as a god, and even taking the credit for the experts from the Elysium? Is this still the Luo Luoyan I know? Even though that was what he was thinking, his expression didn't change. Fellow Taoist Mu, since the young master asked you and me to unite, then come with me to see the young master. Maybe he will have new instructions. Luo Luoyan said. Follow you to see that mortal? Good. Let's see what tricks you have up your sleeves. If you've really been bewitched by an evil spirit, don't blame me for not considering our sisterhood. All right, Mu Bing said calmly. Then, the two walked out of the Jade Lake Palace and flew to the Great Monster Mountain. One day later, the two of them arrived at the edge of Great Demon Mountain. Mu Bing, I know you don't believe me, but we are like sisters. There are a few things that I have to tell you in advance. Otherwise, if you miss out on a great opportunity, you will regret it. Don't be arrogant in front of the young master. Since the young master has designated us to destroy the evil race, this is the supreme good fortune. As soon as Luo Luoyan opened her mouth, she had no intention of stopping. Mu Bing's ears grew calluses as she listened, and a trace of impatience surged in her heart. For the sake of her reputation, she did not get angry. I know, Mu Bing said. If we fly down, we must go up from the foot of the mountain. Only then can we show our sincerity. All right. The two of them landed and walked up the mountain step by step. Up the steps, beside the road was a small stream. The clear stream water collided with the rocks, causing steam to rise up in spirals. The mist shrouded the peach blossom forest, making it look like a fairyland. When the wind blew, the fragrance of peaches wafted into one's nose, making one feel refreshed. Seeing this scene, Mu Bing's eyes flashed. Good place. Then, the two of them continued to climb. Suddenly, worries are neither born nor extinguished, neither dirty nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. The scriptures mixed with the sound of Buddhism flooded the entire valley like a flood. At this moment, Mu Bing stood dumbfounded on the spot. The scenery in front of her changed rapidly. A giant golden Buddha stood proudly in the sky. The dazzling golden light made people not dare to look at it directly. Lines of scriptures flew out of the golden Buddha's mouth, enveloping the entire world. This dazzling scene caused Mu Bing to be stunned for a long time. The words of the great Tao surged into her mind. At this moment, she had reached an indescribable state of being one with nature. That kind of profundity, that kind of profoundness was indescribable, inexplicable. It was a long time. Only then did Mu Bing wake up from her state. Although his strength did not increase, his state of mind was rapidly improving. His future achievements would be limitless. Could it be that the one who destroyed the Earth Fiend wasn't an expert from the Elysium? Could it be a master on the mountain? That is to say, the young master that Luoyan mentioned. At this thought, Mu Bing's expression changed slightly, and a trace of fear flashed across her face. Just now, he was still thinking of running up the mountain to expose the expert. If he really did that, what difference was there from courting death? Thinking like this, Mu Bing put away her arrogance and followed Luo Luoyan up. Sigh, there are still no blessing points. Closing the scripture, Sun Hao sighed secretly. 2 days had passed, and he did not get any blessing point. Right now, Xiozha did not come to his residence, and there was no place to deliver things. May I ask if the young master is at home? At this moment, a sound came from outside the courtyard. Hearing this, Sun Hao's eyes bloomed. Someone had finally arrived. Listening to her voice, it seemed to be Miss Lu Yen. "Young master, I'll open the door." Huang Ruming walked to the courtyard door, opened it, and couldn't help but be stunned. He saw that beside Luo Luyen, there was a beautiful woman who was even more beautiful than Luo Luyen. She was Mu Bing. Mu Bing looked at Huang Ruming with a flash of surprise. "Sister Ruming, this is my fellow Taoist Mu Bing." This time, she came to visit the young master. Luo Luyen introduced. "Miss Mu Bing, Sister Luyen, please come inside." Under Huang Ruming's lead, the two walked into the courtyard. After seeing the 1,000-color god lotus in the pond, Mu Bing's pupils shrank. It was indeed a demon immortal. He was probably not an ordinary demon immortal. That terrifying aura made it difficult for Mu Bing to breathe. With just a glance, Mu Bing retracted her expression and slightly lowered her head to show respect. Although he had heard Luo Luyen talk about it many times, he was still shocked to see it at this moment. His heart, which had not stirred for a long time, was now filled with ripples. Mu Bing suppressed the fluctuations in her heart and continued to follow behind Huang Ruming. Suddenly, quack quack, there was a duck's cry. "Duck!" Mu Bing spoke subconsciously, looked up, and her pupils shrank. "Who?" A pressure, like a tsunami, pressed down. "Dare to call this old man a duck, you are the first. Even the master only calls this old man a chicken. You dare to call this old man a duck?" A sound rang in his mind like a clap of thunder. At this moment, Mu Bing was like sinking into hell, and her whole body trembled violently. On her forehead beads of sweat rolled down. This was not a duck, this was clearly the Nine Heavens god Luan. She actually called her a duck. What was the difference from courting death? Luo Luyen had repeatedly warned herself that there was a Nine Heavens god Luan, but she still forgot. "Senior, I didn't mean it," Mu Bing hurriedly transmitted. Then it's unintentional." "Even unintentional dare to be like this, if it's intentional, isn't it?" Following this sound, boundless pressure came one after another. Mu Bing's body, as if about to burst open, was extremely uncomfortable. Maybe in the next second she would explode into meat paste. "Little Ing, what are you doing? So aggressive, be careful that I stew you into a pot of chicken soup." Seeing the hair on Ing Yu's body standing up, staring at Mu Bing, Sun Hao was angry. "A chicken, dare to stare at a cultivator like this? Be careful that a sword will cut you down." Quack! Ing Yu retracted his pressure and surrounded Sun Hao like a licking dog. Seeing this scene, in Mu Bing's heart there was a storm again. That mortal, with a word, let the Nine Heavens god Luan retract his pressure, like a licking dog? By the way, just now the Nine Heavens god Luan said master. Could it be that it was that mortal? God! What's wrong with this world? The dignified divine beast actually became a licking dog? Originally, she was stunned by his strength. But now, Mu Bing's worldview was completely subverted. The divine beast recognized a human as its master, and it was still so flattering? How was this possible? Could it be that this mortal was really a supreme existence? Mu Bing kept using all kinds of means. No matter how she looked at it, Sun Hao was just a mortal. Even my various secret skills can't be seen through? Mu Bing's face showed the most cautious look ever. "Young master, this is my fellow Taoist, named Mu Bing. She has admired you for a long time, and today she came to see you." Luo Luyen said. "Miss Mu Bing, hello." Sun Hao said. Seeing this handsome scholar, Mu Bing quickly bowed. "Greetings, young master." "You're welcome." Miss Mu Bing came from afar. "Sit down and rest for a while." Sun Hao said. "Thank you, young master." Several people walked into the pavilion. Chapter 59. Ruming, help me pick some fruits. Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." Huang Ruming left quickly. A moment later, a plate of crystal-clear cherries was placed on the table. The black was red and the fruit fragrance was overflowing. Mu Bing saw Luo Liuyan's eager look and shook her head secretly. No matter how she looked at it, it was an ordinary fruit. It couldn't be more ordinary. This kind of thing, for her, had long been eaten. Unexpectedly, Luo Liuyan would be tempted by this kind of secular food. It was a failure. "Two girls, don't be polite, eat it," Sun Hao said. "Thank you, young master." Luo Liuyan picked up the cherry and chewed it with a satisfied face. "Ai." Mu Bing sighed secretly and picked up a cherry. This thing could only be used to fill her stomach, and she really didn't want to eat it. But she couldn't put down her face, so she reluctantly ate one. She put the whole fruit in her mouth and bit it gently. Puff, the juice burst everywhere, and the fragrance and sweetness filled the whole mouth cavity. It was delicious. All the taste buds opened at this moment. Every cell was active. After 2 bites, an extremely pure spiritual power, mixed with wisps of immortal power, poured into her meridians like a torrent. At this moment, Mu Bing felt that her meridians seemed to be about to burst. She hurriedly ran her cultivation method and transferred this power to her dantian. The immortal power in her meridians quickly transformed her meridians and body. In just a short moment, her body was strengthened 10 times. How is this possible? What kind of good fortune did I encounter? Mu Bing murmured. Her heart was like being hit by a mountain torrent, and she couldn't calm down for a long time. Kacha! A sound rang out. The layer of realm membrane on her body cracked in response. The originally suppressed realm collapsed in an instant. At this moment, she reached the middle stage of the crossing calamity realm. Sensing the change in her dantian, Mu Bing's face changed dramatically. She worked hard to suppress it just to prepare for the tribulation. Although it was only a 3-color thunder tribulation, without a top-grade spirit weapon, she definitely couldn't survive it. After so many years of accumulation, 80% of the materials for the top-grade spirit weapon had been prepared. At most 2 years, all of them could be gathered. At that time, she would ask a refining master to create a top-grade spirit weapon to have a 50% chance of surviving the tribulation. Unexpectedly, coming here to eat a fruit, she actually pierced her membrane. This time, he was dead for sure. Thinking so, Mu Bing looked up, and her expression changed dramatically. Dark clouds suddenly appeared in the sky. In less than a moment, it had enveloped the entire sky. Within a radius of 100 miles, it was pitch black. Sizzle, 3-colored lightning bolts flickered incessantly in the sky, emitting sizzling sounds. Every time, there was a sound of electricity that made one's scalp go numb. Sun Hao frowned slightly and looked back at Huang Rumeng. After seeing her look normal, he relaxed. "It seems that Rumeng is not afraid of thunder," Sun Hao secretly said. In the dark clouds, a giant made of lightning galloped about, occasionally laughing maniacally. "I'm out again. Haha, this is wonderful. This time, I want to see which little fellow is undergoing the heavenly tribulation. Little guy, I'll let you know that the power of heaven is unstoppable. This time, I'll definitely destroy your soul. Otherwise, I won't have the face to go back and see the sovereign if I don't meet the performance standards this year." Speaking of this, the Thunder Tribulation Giant swept his gaze and stared directly at Mu Bing. This stare was like being stared at by a beast of hell, and Mu Bing had goosebumps all over her body. Her body trembled violently, uncontrollably. Sizzle, in the sky, the 3-color lightning was brewing. That kind of momentum of destroying everything made people unable to have the slightest heart of resistance. Mu Bing closed her eyes and waited quietly for this moment to come. In the sky, the Thunder Tribulation Giant's scalp suddenly exploded. "God, the Supreme Being is sitting there. I'm here again? It seems that this little guy also has a relationship with the Supreme Being. In that case, I'll give you some good fortune." After speaking, the Thunder Tribulation Giant showed an extremely painful expression, pulled out a ray of lightning from his body, and threw it down. Sizzle, the 3-color lightning disappeared. The dark clouds around gradually dissipated. In less than a moment it was still sunny. As if everything just now was a dream. Are you okay? Mu Bing froze in place, her face full of disbelief. Such a terrifying thunder tribulation was obviously aimed at her. And now, the thunder tribulation had not fallen. There must be a reason for this. Could it be that there was an expert helping in secret? Around here, even the Nine Heavens god Luan did not have this ability. Besides, she just called her a duck, how could she help her? In this way, there was no one else but the young master. Thinking of this, Mu Bing showed a sudden realization. Young master, thank you for saving my life. Mu Bing looked at Sun Hao, her eyes full of gratitude. Suddenly, she raised her eyebrows, looked at her dantian, and her whole person froze in place. The light of thunder tribulation? That wisp of light blue lightning jumped in her dantian and merged with her dantian nascent soul. The whole nascent soul was getting stronger rapidly. Good fortune. The supreme good fortune. God, I will get this kind of good fortune. All of this seemed to be secretly done by the young master. Young master, thank you. Miss Mu Bing, don't be stunned, eat it. Sun Hao's voice awakened Mu Bing. Thank you, young master. Mu Bing nodded, picked up a cherry, and tasted it carefully. She looked at Sun Hao secretly, and the light of gratitude and worship swept away. The young master saved her and gave her supreme good fortune. This kindness was unforgettable. She must send a little gift to the young master to show her gratitude. Thinking like this, Mu Bing secretly opened the space ring and began to check. Finally, her eyes were fixed on a stone shining with black light. This thing, called Black Vein Immortal Gold, was the treasure of the Supreme Court. There were only a few hundred pieces in the entire sect. Her own piece was the reward for winning the school competition and winning the top 10. This thing was originally prepared to be used to refine the best spirit weapon to block the thunder tribulation. However, now that there was such a ray of thunder tribulation light in her body, she was no longer afraid of the thunder tribulation. If she gave this thing to the young master, he should like it, right? Thinking like this, Mu Bing took out the Black Vein Immortal Gold and respectfully handed it to Sun Hao. Young master, I came in a hurry, a little gift, no respect, please accept it. Mu Bing said. Black Vein Immortal Gold. Luo Liuyen's eyes bloomed with a strange light. Seeing Luo Liuyen's reaction, Sun Hao was taken aback. This black stone, it seemed, was not an ordinary thing. How could he not accept it when it was given to him? Just in time, he found this opportunity to give her something. If she dared not accept it, then pretend to be angry and pull down her face. Presumably, she would accept it honestly like the others. This was simply wonderful. Miss Mu Bing, it's too polite to send something when you come. Sun Hao smiled, took the Black Vein Immortal Gold in his hand, and began to look at it. A good piece of iron, but it's a little small, not enough to make a dagger. Chapter 60. A little small? That's not enough? The young master was saying. This little Black Vein Immortal Gold is not enough to save my life. What should I do? Mu Bing's mind turned sharply, thinking about countermeasures. Black Vein Immortal Gold, that was an immortal-grade material. Forging a high-grade spirit weapon was easy. This thing, in the hands of an immortal weapon master, could be used to forge an immortal weapon. This kind of treasure was hard to come by. Where can I find it? What should I do? If I don't take it, the young master will be angry. In the future, this path of creation will definitely be broken. At that time, I will find a place to cry to death. By the way, the dean seems to have a few pieces of Black Vein Immortal Gold. I can only ask the dean to give me one. Thinking like this, Mu Bing secretly kept this matter in mind. Miss Mu Bing, Miss Liuyen, don't be stunned, eat. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. The two women started again. Sun Hao looked at the two women, showing a thoughtful look. His place was too remote, and no cultivator was willing to come. If this continued, the speed of collecting blessing points would be too slow. I must think of a way. After some thought, Sun Hao nodded secretly. In his eyes, a flash of light flashed. "Two girls, please help me with something," Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, the two women's bodies trembled. "The test is coming. The young master is going to give pointers. Every word and every expression must be kept in mind. Young master, please say," Luo Luyan said. "I am going to accept 3 apprentices, but this matter." Sun Hao wanted to say something but stopped. When Luo Luyan heard this, their eyes flashed. "What? Accept apprentices? Such a good thing? Young master, I am willing to worship you as a teacher and stay with you for a long time. At your disposal. Please accept me as your disciple." No. The young master didn't directly propose to accept them, which means he didn't like them at all. In other words, the young master still needs a test. Thinking of this, the two suppressed their inner excitement and calmed down. "Young master, do you want us to help you find apprentices?" Luo Luyan asked. "Yes and no," Sun Hao said ambiguously. Of course, he couldn't really accept apprentices. Otherwise, what should he teach him? Planting trees? Playing the piano? Breeding? Forging? Carving? It seemed that immortal cultivators were not interested in these things, right? Therefore, as long as the two of them called those people over, they would give something to those people. Wouldn't the blessing points be endless? "Young master, we understand," Luo Luyan said. "And remember, the stronger the better," Sun Hao said. "The stronger the strength, the higher the blessing value. Do not bring mortals here." "Young master, rest assured," Luo Luyan nodded. "Miss Mu Bing, it's your first time here and you're giving me something. You're really polite. I have something for you, please come with me," Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Mu Bing's body trembled. What does the young master want to do? She obviously felt that she had given too little, but she still wanted to give her a present? What was the meaning of this? Thinking so, Mu Bing looked at Luo Luyan, showing a look of help. "Mu Bing, this is the young master's test for you. Be careful and don't be greedy," Luo Luyan said. And Mu Bing nodded and followed Sun Hao nervously. Soon, the two of them arrived at the carving room. "Open the gate." Phew, a terrifying coercion like Mount Tai pressed down. Mu Bing's face was pale, and fine beads of sweat overflowed on her forehead. It was the statues in the room that released this terrifying coercion. Every statue made Mu Bing unable to give birth to the slightest resistance. So many terrifying artifact spirits? Mu Bing stared blankly at the statues in the room, her face full of shock. Those that could give birth to artifact spirits were all high-grade spiritual weapons. The entire house was probably filled with supreme-grade spiritual weapons or even supreme spiritual weapons. So many supreme spiritual weapons? This was much richer than the Supreme Court. What kind of existence was the young master? Thinking of this, Mu Bing took a cold breath and couldn't calm down for a long time. With Sun Hao in front of her, she could still bear the coercion. "Miss Mu Bing, you can choose one of the gadgets here at will," Sun Hao said. After saying this, the coercion around her suddenly disappeared. Immediately afterward, "Little girl, this old man is an ancient powerhouse. With me, I will guarantee you to the peak of your life, fight everywhere, and no one will be your opponent. Girl, I am willing to be a sword in your hand, and I will kill wherever you point. Come on, you are obviously a snake. If you want to choose, you should choose this seat. It is not a problem to suppress everything." A voice like thunder blasted in Mu Bing's mind. At this moment, she was completely dumbfounded. Compared with the previous aloofness, it was like a changed person. "Young master, how can this be?" Mu Bing said. "What? You don't like my statues?" Sun Hao's face sank and his anger appeared. This expression appeared. Mu Bing's face changed drastically, and she waved her hand repeatedly. Young master, I didn't mean that." "Then what are you waiting for? Choose one," Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." Mu Bing looked nervous, picked up one casually and held it in her hand. Young master, can I choose this? Of course you can. Sun Hao looked at the dragon statue in Mu Bing's hand and couldn't help but be taken aback. It seemed that not everyone liked the broken arm statue. He deliberately broke a few statues, hid them among these statues, and let them find them. Thank you, young master. Mu Bing sent the dragon statue into the space ring, and her face was full of gratitude. The two walked out of the carving room and came to the pavilion. Two girls, it's still early. How about staying for dinner? Sun Hao said. Young master, I have troubled you for a long time today, so I will leave first. After saying goodbye to Sun Hao, Luo Luoyan and Mu Bing ran straight down the mountain. A moment later, Mu Bing, have you realized it? Luo Luoyan asked. Mu Bing's expression stagnated, and her face showed a look of fear. Today's trip was simply terrifying. First, the peerless demon immortal, then the supreme divine beast, then a warehouse of supreme spiritual weapons. Even the thunder tribulation had disappeared. Every time, he almost scared his soul out of his body. It was terrifying. Mu Bing nodded. Young master is hinting that I took too little black vein immortal gold, and let me bring more. After Luo Luoyan heard it, she shook her head for a while. How is this a hint? This is an explicit statement, okay? Then what did you realize? Mu Bing asked. Young master's acceptance of an apprentice is both an opportunity and a test. Recently, the evil race has been on the rise. The first apprentice accepted by the young master must be the one who annihilates the evil race. Luo Luoyan said. Hearing this, Mu Bing nodded secretly. Then young master said that the stronger the better. What does this mean? You still don't understand? This is the young master's warning. Don't slack off. You must work hard to cultivate. Also, the young master has woken up to let you join us and annihilate the evil race together. Are you willing? Luo Luoyan said. I am willing. Mu Bing nodded heavily. Chapter 61. Not good, not good. A cry of surprise came from outside the door. Su Yiling opened her eyes, and there was a trace of doubt on her face. What happened? The invasion of the evil races? Thinking of this, Su Yiling's scalp exploded, and she quickly stood up. Young master's instructions came true so quickly? Su Yiling opened the door, looked at the person and asked, What's wrong? Saintess, things are not good. The heavenly underworld sect has surrounded us, saying that they want to avenge their dead master and wash the Jade Lake Palace with blood. Hearing the voice of the female disciple, Su Yiling snorted coldly. Rebel? Are they scared because they haven't been beaten yet? Where are they now? Su Yiling asked. Holy Maiden, they are outside the Great Formation and are shouting non-stop, said the female disciple. Did they attack? No. They didn't attack. They just kept shouting. It was obvious that he was purposely provoking the people inside to leave. Given the personality of the heavenly underworld sect's sect master, he would definitely not come to provoke the sect master's death. There must be a conspiracy behind this. He had to be careful. Su Yiling muttered and made a decision. Pass my order. No one is allowed to walk out of the array. Everything will wait for master to come back and decide. Saintess, but a few of our disciples have fallen into their hands. Now, they're going to rape them in front of all the disciples. The female disciple couldn't continue. Damn it! Su Yiling clenched her fists. If that's the case, then go to hell. After speaking, Su Yiling quickly ran out. After a while, she came to the square and stood at the edge of the array. Seeing the scene in front of her, two streams of anger shot up from the soles of her feet and circled around her chest. A few female disciples were tied to the pillars and surrounded by a few male cultivators. Hua, the sound of tearing silk passed through the sound amplification array and resounded throughout the entire square. Seeing this scene, the female disciples' faces were filled with shame and anger. Saintess, let me destroy them. Saintess, let me save my sisters. One by one, the disciples stood up and knelt in front of Su Yiling, asking to fight. Su Yiling waved her right hand, and all the disciples quieted down. She calmly looked forward and stepped out of the formation. Buzz, a sound rang out. A trapping array enveloped Su Yiling in an instant. Haha, the sect master of the heavenly underworld sect threw his head back and laughed. I didn't expect that the saintess of Jade Lake Palace was so retarded. She couldn't stand a little stimulation. Now, with you in my hands, wouldn't Lu Luyen be captured without a fight? The heavenly underworld sect master looked at Su Yiling and was extremely proud. Di Ming, with your personality, you don't have the guts to do that. Tell me, what's your purpose? Su Yiling looked at heavenly underworld sect master and said, Don't talk nonsense. Lu Luyen killed our sect master. How can we not avenge her? Looking at Su Yiling being so calm, heavenly underworld sect master's face showed a trace of worry. You? Do you dare? Su Yiling smiled slightly and said faintly, Since you don't want to say it, I have a way to make you speak. What? You want me to speak? The sect master of the heavenly underworld sect was stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. A turtle in a jar is still boasting shamelessly. It's too funny, haha, haha. The elders and disciples of the heavenly nether sect also burst into laughter. Becoming a spear in the hands of others, you are still so foolish. After speaking, Su Yiling raised her finger and tapped lightly. Kacha, the array that enveloped her body cracked. Heavenly underworld sect master's pupils shrank, and his face changed drastically. He was about to retreat, but he saw that Su Yiling had already stood in front of him, and her jade finger tapped lightly. Boom! There was a loud noise. Heavenly underworld sect master flew out like a broken kite, sprinkling a rain of blood in the sky. Boom! He fell to the ground and exploded into a cloud of dust. One blow, serious injury. When the disciples of the heavenly underworld sect saw this scene, they were all scared silly. How is this possible? In front of this girl, the sect master can't even stop a finger? What should I do? They looked at Su Yiling, and their faces were full of fear. Su Yiling ignored these, but looked at heavenly underworld sect master. Puff! Heavenly underworld sect master spat out a mouthful of blood. He struggled a few times and couldn't stand up. He pointed at Su Yiling. Su Yiling smiled slightly, and with a finger of her right hand, all the tied female disciples regained their freedom. You wait, go back to the array first. Yes, Saintess. These female disciples quickly flew back to the array. Su Yiling turned around. Before waiting for heavenly underworld sect master to react, she had already stood in front of heavenly underworld sect master and stepped on his chest with one foot. Kacha! His chest seemed to be pressed by a mountain, and several bones broke. Heavenly underworld sect master let out a shrill scream. You only have one chance, say. Who is the mastermind behind the scenes? Su Yiling said. I say, heavenly underworld sect master repeatedly begged for mercy. A touch of smugness flashed across the corner of his mouth. Suddenly, say your big hammer. Heavenly underworld sect master's body burst open, turned into light and shadow, and disappeared without a trace. Su Yiling's face changed drastically, and she was about to move. At this time, Buzz, there was a shock. A crimson cage enveloped Su Yiling in an instant. She touched it lightly, and her hand was burned black. Fierce prison cage? Su Yiling's face changed drastically, and she let out an exclamation. You have some knowledge. At this time, a middle-aged man with a fiery red body appeared not far away. Next to him, heavenly underworld sect master followed him like a licking dog. You are the raging fire sect master Lai Yu? As soon as these words came out, within the Jade Lake Palace array there was an instant wave. What? Raging fire sect? The 7th class sect Raging Fire sect? Is this the end of our Jade Lake Palace? Besieged by 2 7th class sects, what should we do? Let's hurry to save the Holy Maiden and fight with them. Shut up, The holy maiden said that no one is allowed to attack without her order. All the disciples of Jade Lake Palace stared at Su Yiling, full of worry. Little doll, you have some knowledge. Say, where is Luo Luoyan? Lai Yu said. My master is here, you will definitely die. If you know what's good for you, let me go quickly. Su Yiling said. Little doll, at this moment, you still dare to threaten me? After speaking, Lai Yu waved his right hand. A ball of flame hit the fierce prison cage. Wisps of red flames, like silk threads, drilled into Su Yiling's eyebrows. Su Yiling clasped her fists and screamed up to the sky. The voice was faint and extremely mournful. Holy Maiden! A group of female disciples stood in the array and shouted loudly. Everyone clenched their fists, and their chests heaved violently. I will fight with you. Dare to attack the Holy Maiden, charge. A group of female disciples completely lost their mind. Seeing that, they were about to rush out of the array. At this time, stand up! The Grand Elder let out a loud shout, waking up all the disciples. Chapter 62. Little girl, I don't want to torture you either. If you know what's good for you, say it quickly. Also, where is the godly cunning immortal behind her? Lai Yu said. Oh, it turns out that you actually have an idea about the godly cunning immortal, it's simply courting death. Su Yiling said. I don't know if we will die or not, but if you don't say it, your soul may be destroyed. Lai Yu said. These words just finished. Really? A sound rang out. A silver-haired man carried a big knife and walked out of the Jade Lake Palace step by step. What? There are men in the Jade Lake Palace? What the f***ck? Didn't we agree to cut off all ties with each other? Are you kidding me? My pure love has vanished into thin air. The disciples of the heavenly underworld sect, with a bitter face, stared at Chen Daoming. That kind of envy and jealousy could kill him. Chen Daoming raised the corner of his mouth, stroked his silver hair, and looked arrogant. Bullying a girl, what kind of skill is that? Let her go, come at me if you dare. That red hair, what are you looking at? I'm talking about you. You look like a flamingo, and you still have the nerve to talk? Chen Daoming pointed to Lai Yu and said. You. Courting death. Lai Yu gritted his teeth and rushed towards Chen Daoming. For a while, the two men wrestled together. Ding! The sound of metal colliding sounded constantly. The sound of the terrifying explosion was endless. The cultivators who were close were seriously injured by the aftermath. The more they went, the more intense the fighting became. Lai Yu was suppressed by Chen Daoming and had no power to fight back. How is this possible? What is his body made of? Harder than a middle-grade spirit weapon. It hurts. How could I encounter this kind of monster? I can't burn it to death, this is troublesome. Lai Yu murmured, his face bitter. Boom! There was a loud noise. The two men separated. Lai Yu's body stepped straight back, and it took a lot of strength to stabilize his figure. Puff! A mouthful of blood was spat out toward the sky. He looked at Chen Daoming, his face full of fear. Hey, suppressing his strength like this, he can't beat me, what a waste! Chen Daoming sighed secretly, then stared at Lai Yu, full of sneers. Boom! He kicked with his right leg, causing the air to explode. With just one step, he stood in front of Lai Yu. Since you are willing to be my fighter, then go to hell. After that, Chen Daoming raised his foot and stomped down toward Lai Yu. Sir, save me! Seeing this scene, Lai Yu was scared out of his wits and shouted loudly. Stop! There was a loud shout. Following that, a figure rapidly arrived. In an instant, he stood in front of Chen Daoming. He was 2 meters tall, and his muscles seemed to be bursting out of his armor. His entire body emitted an aura that could destroy everything. His face was covered, so it was impossible to see his face clearly. He glanced at Lai Yu and said coldly, Humph, what a waste! Subsequently, the masked man stared at Chen Daoming and looked carefully. The early stage of the insightful void realm was a realm lower than him. Compared to Luo Luyen, that waste, he was indeed better. Luo Luyen, it turns out that you are just a green tea bitch, looking for a lover. You are not even as good as me, pretending to be noble. The masked man muttered to himself and shook his head for a while. Today, see how I kill your lover. Thinking of this, the masked man raised the corner of his mouth and said, Kid, let him go. Hee, what if I don't let him go? Chen Daoming said. Then you will be better off dead. The masked man said. Is that so? After that, Chen Daoming raised his foot and stomped down fiercely. No, you dare. Two sounds rang out at the same time. Gotcha! Lai Yu's head cracked, red and white things splashed everywhere, and he died on the spot. Silence. It was very quiet. Everyone stared at this scene blankly, full of disbelief. A 7th-class sex grandmaster was actually stomped to death? He couldn't even resist? The disciples of the Heavenly Nether sect were all frightened, and their faces changed drastically. When there was the old monster Tianming, the Heavenly Nether sect was a 6th-class sect. Now that the old monster Tianming was dead, the sect naturally fell to a 7th-class sect. Who in the entire sect was this kid's opponent? What to do? Many people's legs trembled, and their faces changed again and again. Escape? What was the difference from courting death? The masked man looked at Chen Daoming, and his anger was overflowing. He pointed to Chen Daoming. Good, very good. Since you want to die so much, this seat will fulfill your wish. After that, the masked man rushed towards Chen Daoming. The two fought together. Ding! The sound of metal colliding sounded constantly. Neither of them used weapons, relying entirely on their flesh. The flesh was like a divine weapon, indestructible. The onlookers looked at this scene, stunned. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the two separated. The two of them looked at each other with fear in their eyes. Damn, his physical body, how can it be stronger than mine? The masked man's right hand trembled slightly, and his face was full of disbelief. What he practiced was the strongest physical body cultivation method of the Supreme Court. Coupled with the bloodline, he could break the middle-grade spiritual weapon with his bare hand. Although his realm was only at the early Deshang stage, even if he encountered a cultivator at the peak Deshang stage, he could kill him with his bare hands. Now, facing a kid at the early void transformation stage, he didn't even have the power to fight back? How was this possible? Does it hurt? That's right, it proves that you are still alive. If you only have this skill, then you can die. Chen Daoming held the long knife in his hand and began to pull it out. Pretending to be a ghost, die. The masked man rushed towards Chen Daoming. At this time, the long knife was slowly pulled out. Buzz, the long knife, like the scabbard, sounded, shaking people's ears. The terrifying knife intent, centered on Chen Daoming, shook in all directions. It was like a giant mountain. Boom! A group of cultivators who were close, all of them like cannonballs, blasted in all directions. Those with low strength were directly shaken into flying ash and disappeared on the spot. Boom! The masked man was no exception. He was hit hard, fell to the ground, and vomited blood. Before the knife was pulled out, he was seriously injured. He looked at Chen Daoming and shook his head again and again, with a look of disbelief. How can he comprehend such a powerful knife intent? Fake, it must be fake. Hee. Chen Daoming took back the long knife and stood in front of the masked man. Do you know the biggest difference between you and a pig? You! The masked man's chest was stagnant, and he had nothing to say. The biggest difference is that a pig has always been a pig, and you can't even compare to a pig. After saying that, Chen Daoming raised his foot and kicked over fiercely. Puff! Blood spilled, and the masked man flew across the ground. He bowed like a shrimp, looking painful. At the corner of his mouth, black and red blood kept flowing. His vitality was rapidly lost. One kick, and he was seriously injured. He was still hiding his strength when he fought against me? His strength is so terrifying, it's troublesome. Thinking of this, the masked man's scalp was numb. He took a deep breath and shouted with all his might. Chai Yuan-chu, what are you looking at? Hurry up and save me. This sound like thunder rolled out. Chapter 63. Haha! A burst of hearty laughter came from the void. There was a burst of transparent ripples in the sky. A figure penetrated the ripples and stood in the sky. He was dressed in white and had a handsome appearance. He looked elegant and stylish. He was a student of the Supreme Court, Chai Yuan-chu. Chai Yuan-chu looked at Ho Xing and shook his head for a while. Ho Xing, you are so useless that you can't even beat a kid in the early stage of void transformation. You are powerful, then you come. Ho Xing pressed the wound and roared loudly. Come on. After speaking, Chai Yuan-chu's figure flashed. He appeared behind Chen Daoming in an instant. Without waiting for Chen Daoming to react, he gently raised his hand and pressed it with a palm. It seemed to have no power. However, boom! Chen Daoming flew out like a broken kite. Puff! He fell to the ground, spat out a mouthful of blood, and fainted. What? Knock him out with one blow? How is this possible? Ho Xing didn't believe it. Chai Yuan-chu smiled slightly and didn't take it to heart at all. Hurry up and break the array and catch them. At that time, are you afraid that Luo Luoyan won't be captured obediently? Chai Yuan-chu said. Okay. Ho Xing took out a medicinal pill and swallowed 2 in a row with a painful face. His physical injuries were recovering rapidly. Despite this, his arm could not grow out. He struggled to stand up, gritting his teeth in pain. Chai Yuan-chu looked into the distance and shouted, You too, what are you looking at? Hurry up and lead the sect disciples to attack the array. Yes. The Heavenly Underworld Sect Master and the Raging Fire Sect Master waved their right hands, and tens of thousands of long rainbows flew quickly and fell in front of the Jade Lake Palace array. Attack! Chai Yuan-chu waved his right hand, and tens of thousands of cultivators moved together. Tens of thousands of rays of light flew toward the Jade Lake Palace array like meteors. It was overwhelming, making people's scalp numb. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the array trembled violently. Gotcha! Above the array, a crack spread downward. Not good, the array is going to be broken? What should we do? Master has not returned yet, sisters. Swear to live and die with Jade Lake Palace, and prepare to fight to the death. Yes, great elder. The neat voice resounded throughout the Jade Lake Palace. Each of the female disciples had a determined look on their faces. They gripped their swords tightly and circulated the power in their bodies. Boom! Another tens of thousands of light beams struck the formation. Gotcha! The patterns were like a spider web, spreading out in all directions. One more strike and the formation would definitely shatter. Strike with all your strength and break the formation. Yes. Every immortal cultivator exerted their full strength, mobilizing the power within their bodies, and began to attack. Tens of thousands of rays of light lit up the entire sky as they descended rapidly. Boom! There was a loud noise. The entire formation instantly shattered. Kill! Thousands of disciples of Jade Lake Palace raised their long swords and rushed out. However, just as they took a step forward, they stopped. He saw that in the sky, the great array condensed and once again enveloped the entire Jade Lake Palace. The sect-protecting formation was restored to its original state. It was not only the Jade Lake Palace disciples who were stunned, but also many cultivators outside the array. What? Recovered? How is this possible? Is this a dream? How can a 7th grade sect's grand array be so strong? Chai Yuan-chu's face changed slightly when he saw this scene. Attack, continue to attack. Chai Yuan-chu shouted. The group of cultivators began to move again. Everyone used all their strength and attacked frantically. After the formation was broken, another array barrier once again enveloped Jade Lake Palace. The speed was so fast that people couldn't react at all. The grand array was restored to its original state. Chai Yuanshu looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Chai Yuanshu, it has recovered again, what should we do now? Ho Xing said. Continue to attack. I don't believe that this method can keep growing. In this way, under the command of Chai Yuanshu, a group of cultivators attacked frantically. After breaking through the formation 5 times, Chen Xiaobei was stunned. Many cultivators fell to the ground, gasping for breath. No, my spiritual power has been exhausted. This damn array, how can it keep growing, damn it? I can't do it, I've used up all the medicinal pills. Such a voice kept ringing. Chai Yuanshu clenched his fists, and his joints exploded. His face was distorted and deformed. In his eyes, black gas surged up. A roar shook the world. Chai Yuanshu's body changed rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he changed into a 2-meter-tall monster with a sharp horn on his head and a mouth full of fangs. The black gas on his body spread rapidly around. Chai. Lord Chai, it turned out to be an evil race? My God, too terrifying. My heart seems to be jumping out. The surrounding cultivators couldn't help but retreat. This, Ho Xing directly paralyzed to the ground, and his face was extremely ugly. In this way, isn't he colluding with the evil race? This crime was enough for him to die 10,000 times. It's over. Ho Xing closed his eyes, his face desperate. Ha ha! Chai Yuanshu looked up to the sky and roared like crazy. He stepped forward and walked towards the grand array step by step. Luo Luyan, even if you have this kind of array, so what? This old man will still break you. After speaking, Chai Yuanshu stretched out his right claw and slapped it towards the grand array. The claws were extremely sharp, exuding a chilling light. Puff, with a light pat, the claw instantly pierced into the array. The claw clenched lightly. Kacha! There was a sound like glass cracking. The grand array burst. This time, the grand array didn't recover. Ha ha, Luo Luyan, let me help you kill these disciples. After speaking, Chai Yuanshu stepped forward and rushed towards a group of disciples. Looking at Chai Yuanshu, the disciples of Jade Lake Palace trembled with fright, and their faces changed drastically. However, they did not retreat. Fight! The great elder roared and rushed over with his people. At this time, stop! A soft shout shook into the ears of every disciple. They all stopped, looked at the sky, and couldn't help but look sluggish. In their eyes there was endless surprise. The palace master is back! Great, the palace master is back! Exclamations kept ringing. Chai Yuanshu seemed to find something wrong and looked up at the sky. He saw. In the sky, Luo Luyan stepped on the air and quickly fell. In the blink of an eye, she fell in front of Chai Yuanshu. A smile appeared on Luo Luyan's face. The young master is really clever. This evil race really appeared. Chai Yuanshu, it turns out that you are really a running dog of the evil race. This time, I will destroy you with peace of mind. Luo Luyan said with a smile. Destroy me? Chai Yuanshu was slightly startled, thinking that he had heard it wrong. Then, haha, Chai Yuanshu looked up to the sky and laughed. Luo Luyan, you are finally here, let me wait for a long time. Say, where is the godly cunning immortal? Otherwise, today will be a bloodbath in Jade Lake Palace. After today, Jade Lake Palace will be wiped out. Chai Yuanshu said. The godly cunning immortal has long calculated that you will come. Today, you will never leave. Luo Luyan said. At this moment you still want to talk fast. In that case, wait for me to kill you, and then torture and interrogate. After speaking, Chai Yuanshu rushed over. Chapter 64. Luo Luyan watched Chai Yuanshu rush over, and there was no change in her expression. She stood there calmly without any intention of moving. Buzz! Chai Yuanshu's claws pierced through the air. With a harsh whistling sound, she directly grabbed Luo Luyan's shoulder. Explode! Chai Yuanshu revealed a touch of pride as his right hand squeezed. As a member of the evil race, the strength of his physical body had already reached an unimaginable level. Even if the Ascendant Realm powerhouse had the protection of a shield, his shoulder would still be crushed by this blow. Thinking of this, the smile on Chai Yuanchu's face became extremely cruel. Bang! An explosive sound rang out. Chai Yuanchu looked at Luo Liuyan's shoulder and his face was full of disbelief. He saw that Luo Liuyan's shoulder was intact, and his whole palm exploded. How is this possible? Dumbfounded, he retracted his palm and looked at his right hand that had no palm. He stood rooted to the ground in shock. The next second, he let out a blood-curdling scream. "Bitch, you dare to plot against me!" Chai Yuanchu roared again and again. He stretched out his left hand and tried to gouge her eyeballs. Luo Liuyan arrived first and grabbed Chai Yuanchu's left hand. This is impossible. Chai Yuanchu's complexion changed dramatically as he sensed the tremendous force on his claws. He struggled frantically, "Let go!" However, it was useless. "Your claw doesn't need it at all." After saying that, he clenched his fist lightly. Bang! There was a loud explosion. Chai Yuanchu's left hand directly burst into blood foam. "That's impossible. How can your physical body be so strong?" After he said that, a mournful scream shook the sky. Chai Yuanchu fell to the ground and kept rolling. Black chi gushed out of his wounds and quickly shrouded his surroundings. "Since that's the case, die, all of you shall die." Chai Yuanchu looked up to the sky and howled. The black aura on his body gushed out like a fountain. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the surrounding cultivators. Ho Xing bore the brunt of the attack. Hiss! The black aura quickly drilled into Ho Xing's body. "Chai Yuanchu, you will die a horrible death." Ho Xing pointed at Chai Yuanchu, his face full of unwillingness. Finally, he fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and then stopped moving. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of cultivators around Chai Yuanchu died tragically on the spot. For this scene, Luo Liuyan's expression did not change. What did the enemies killing each other have to do with him? Phew, the black gas was still surging, quickly drilling into the cultivator's body. Kacha, the sound of bones rubbing against each other could be heard. The cultivator who had just fallen, after inhaling the black gas, stood up again. They looked sluggish like zombies. Corpse puppet. The disciples of Jade Lake Palace looked at this scene and couldn't help but exclaim. The corpse puppet race usually refined corpses. Just like what he did, he directly killed the living and then refined the corpse. It was completely against the harmony of the world and deviated from the path of corpse puppets. It seemed like the corpse puppet race had completely changed. Luo Liuyan looked at the hundreds of cultivators, and her killing intent surged. He did not expect that this Chai Yuanchu was actually from the corpse puppet race. Even the dean could not tell. How well hidden. If you dare to come here today, then don't even think about leaving. Children, turn this place into Shura hell and kill everyone. Chai Yuanchu opened his mouth, and all the corpse puppets moved together. Howl, whenever they saw a living creature, these corpse puppets would rush over. Before a heavenly underworld sect cultivator could react, he was pounced on by a corpse puppet. The claws were like Vajra claws, and they grabbed the cultivator's heart at once. From life to death, it was just an instant. After this cultivator died, the surrounding black gas quickly poured into his body. In less than a moment, this cultivator stood up straight again and joined the army of corpse puppets. Such a scene was staged quickly. It was a completely one-sided situation. There were more and more corpse puppets, and the cultivators of the two sects were getting fewer and fewer. Humph! Luo Liuyan snorted coldly and waved her right hand lightly. The hand of great love was directly used. Phew, in the sky, the spiritual energy was whistling and rushing over. A big hand covering the sky condensed rapidly. The terrifying coercion pressed down from the big hand. The corpse puppets in all directions, under this coercion, seemed to be stuck in a quagmire, and it was difficult to move. Howl, the corpse puppets kept struggling and making strange cries. Then, boom, the sound of explosions kept ringing. The corpse puppets were as fragile as thin pieces of ice, and were quickly crumbling. After a few breaths, nearly 10,000 corpse puppets, not a single one was left. The surrounding black gas dissipated cleanly. Around, there was dead silence. The surviving cultivators showed the joy of surviving a disaster. They looked at Luo Luoyan, and their faces were full of worship. Thump! No one knew who took the lead, but the cultivators of the two sects, facing Luo Luoyan, knelt down one by one. "Thank you, Palace Master Luo, for saving my life." Palace Master Luo's skill is unparalleled and unparalleled. Palace Master Luo's bodhisattva heart, looking at the whole world, who can compare? For these, Luo Luoyan completely ignored. Her eyes were fixed on Chai Yuanchu, and her cold, killing intent was not concealed. "Do you have any last words?" Luo Luoyan stepped out and instantly stood in front of Chai Yuanchu, looking down at him. "Oh, you're so sure of me? You and I have been in the same sect for so long, don't you even understand my character?" Chai Yuanchu's face was full of sneers. "An evil race dog like you is also worthy of being in my sect. Die!" After speaking, Luo Luoyan held a long sword and plunged it into Chai Yuanchu's heart. Stab! A sound rang out. The long sword was pulled out. Infinite black gas rushed out of Chai Yuanchu's chest. Chai Yuanchu let out a shrill scream. The sound was like a ghost howling from hell, and it was creepy to hear. "Help!" Chai Yuanchu let out a shrill scream. The voice was faint and spread throughout the void. Soon after, buzz, the sky trembled. Layers of air waves vibrating out. The big hand that covered the sky directly burst open, turned into a ray of light, and dissipated. The terrifying pressure came one after another. Like a tsunami, it pressed on Luo Luoyan. At this moment, Luo Luoyan was out of breath and thought it was not good. She just looked up. But she saw. 4 sounds rang out. 4 shadows as thick as ink appeared behind Chai Yuanchu. The shadow was so dark that even the sun couldn't penetrate it. In other words, their bodies were like black holes, absorbing any light. "Not good, it's the 4 corpse puppet generals," Luo Luoyan exclaimed. As soon as these words came out. "What? The 4 great generals of the corpse puppet clan? My God, this is the same level as the Earth Fiend, and it's just to deal with our Jade Lake Palace. I don't know what conspiracy they have, let's fight them." Inside Jade Lake Palace, a group of disciples clenched their swords, showing a determined look. "Luo Luoyan, you didn't expect it, did you?" Seeing Luo Luoyan's surprised look, Chai Yuanchu struggled to stand up, showing a proud face. "Luo Luoyan, now kneel down and beg for mercy. I can give you a quick death. Otherwise, you will regret coming to this world." Chapter 65. Chai Yuanchu looked at Luo Luoyan, forgot the pain and laughed. That smug look on his face would make anyone want to go up and slap him. True enough. A crisp sound rang out. A black shadow flashed and hit him heavily in the face. Chai Yuanchu's body flew out and hit the ground. The last bit of black gas in his body was also drawn out. His heart was pierced and his hands were shattered. Even so, he could still survive with the help of the black gas. Now that he was whipped by his own people, he was on the verge of death. In his confusion, he revealed a wronged expression. My lord, why did you hit me?" The voice of the black shadow that attacked was cold. "You're just a piece of trash. It's fine if you're not strong enough, but your brain is also not good enough. Trash, you've screwed us over." Another black shadow stood up. "What?" Chai Yuanchu's face was filled with disbelief. "How is this possible? With the strength of the 4 lords, not to mention them. Even if it's that godly cunning immortal, isn't he still beheaded?" Chai Yuanchu said. What do you know?" Speaking of this, a black shadow stared at Chen Daoming and said, boy, get up, don't pretend to be dead. Just as he finished speaking, Chen Dao Ming jumped, stood up, and let out a hearty laugh. Worthy of being the 4 generals, you have some knowledge. He stroked his silver hair, took out a hatchet, and placed it on his shoulder, full of confidence. The shadow did not answer, and then looked at Su Yiling and said, Little girl, don't pretend. That blazing prison cage can't trap you. Hearing this, the corner of Su Yiling's mouth raised, showing a look of embarrassment. She stretched out her finger unhurriedly and pressed it forward. Gotcha! A sound rang out. The infernal prison cage crumbled into dust. Acting in order to lure you guys out is really tiring. It's better to just fight. Su Yiling twisted her neck, clenched her joints, and walked forward unhurriedly, staring calmly at the 4 shadows. Together with Luo Luoyan, the 3 of them have completely locked them. As long as there is any movement, they will definitely attack. Chai Yuanchu stared blankly at this scene with a dumbfounded look. Everything that happened today was unimaginable and completely beyond imagination. The surrounding cultivators all stood dumbfounded on the spot, their faces filled with disbelief. So everything before was just to bait out the corpse puppet race? How did they know that the evil race was coming? How could they be so powerful? Phew! Chai Yuanchu let out a long breath and spat out all the black gas. He fell to the ground and stared at the sky with his eyes wide open. The other side. I can't figure it out. How did you calculate that we were going to attack the Jade Lake Palace? A black shadow said. Luo Luoyan smiled slightly, revealing an inscrutable smile. It is naturally not us who can calculate all this. Luo Luoyan said. Could it be the godly cunning immortal behind you? The shadow said. Not bad. Luo Luoyan nodded. As soon as these words came out, hiss, the sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air rose and fell. Was there really the godly cunning immortal? That was too terrifying. To know the other party's movements in advance, such an ability was truly terrifying. With such a powerful expert in the human clan, no matter how strong the evil race was, they would not be able to cause any trouble. Thank you for informing us. We understand. However, thank you for giving us time to escape. Next time we meet, we will never be merciful. A black shadow had just finished speaking. Phew! A huge teleportation vortex appeared in front of the 4 of them. Seeing this scene, the faces of the cultivators changed drastically. Quick, kill them! Don't let them escape. However, it was all too late. The 4 black shadows instantly drilled into the teleportation vortex and disappeared. Luo Luoyan and the others looked at this scene and did not intend to move at all. Just when everyone was sighing. Phew! A teleportation vortex appeared again, and the 4 black shadows that had just disappeared appeared again in their original position. They came back again? What's going on? A black shadow's voice trembled. The 4 of them were back to back, looking around vigilantly. Look! At this time, an exclamation sounded. Everyone looked up, and their pupils shrank, and their faces were full of shock. They saw that in the sky, a huge divine dragon phantom appeared. The golden light was extremely dazzling. The whole thing looked incomparably sacred, making people unable to have the slightest heart to resist. The 4 black shadows looked at the sky, and their hearts sank to hell. My God, that's the space dragon Ancestor. What? The space great Tao Ancestor dragon? Isn't it already dead? How is this possible? It's over, we're finished. The 4 black shadows muttered to themselves, despair written all over their faces. Phew! A long rainbow slowly descended from the sky. After landing, it turned into a blue-robed woman. It was Mu Bing. Luo Luoyan and Mu Bing looked at each other and nodded slightly. In the sky. Little doll, you actually know this old man. You have some knowledge. However, this old man doesn't like guys who hide their heads and show their tails the most. After saying that, the golden light all over the sky, like the Milky Way of the 9th heaven, poured straight down. In an instant, the 4 black shadows were shrouded. Phew! The black gas on their bodies instantly dissipated, leaving no trace. They were 4 men with sharp mouths and monkey cheeks. Their faces were pale, and they looked like hell's soul reapers. It was very terrifying. They are not worthy of this old man's hand, I'll leave them to you. The divine dragon spoke in human language, and his eyes stared directly at the 4 corpse puppets, as if looking down on ants. Good. After Luo Luyen finished speaking, she waved her right hand, and the 4 moved at the same time. Each person locked on a corpse puppet general and ran quickly. Big brother, what should we do? There is no way, we will definitely die. Big brother, let's attack that girl together, she is the weakest. Pull her back just right. This idea is good. After some discussion, the 4 corpse puppets rushed towards Su Yiling. Seeing this scene, Luo Luyen and the others' faces changed greatly. Not good. Disciple, be careful. Luo Luyen used all her means and rushed forward frantically. It's just, where was it too late? The 4 corpse puppets had already arrived in front of Su Yiling. Although Su Yiling reached the late void transformation, the 4 corpse puppets were all Ascendant Realm old monsters. Between them, there were 2 realms of Mahayana and crossing calamity. One realm was 108,000 miles. What's more, there was now a difference of 3 realms. Moreover, the 4 corpse puppets had been famous for a long time. The deliberate sneak attack at this moment, for Su Yiling, was simply a dead end. But she saw. Hee, Su Yiling smiled slightly, and her shallow dimples showed on both sides of her mouth. Very sweet. When the 4 corpse puppets saw this scene, they couldn't help but look stunned. A wave of uneasiness surged into everyone's heart. They stared at Su Yiling and did not dare to move. They saw Su Yiling take out a picture scroll in no hurry. Chapter 66. After seeing this picture scroll, the 4 corpse puppet generals breathed a sigh of relief. Scared me to death. I thought she was holding back some big move. Yeah, this look, it's really good. I can't see any clues. No way, little doll, you want to use a picture scroll to deal with us? Are you here to be funny? It's so funny. The 4 corpse puppet generals shook their heads. Just now, they were nervous and used various means to look at the picture scroll. No matter how they looked, there was no spiritual power fluctuation on the scroll. Presumably, it was no different from the secular picture scroll. This kind of thing, except for the group of trash who couldn't cultivate, no one would like it. Use this secular thing to deal with us? However, in the next second, the 4 people's faces changed dramatically, and their bodies trembled involuntarily. At this moment, Su Yiling had already spread out the picture scroll. A snowy scene appeared in front of the 4 people. The biting cold came out of the picture scroll and wrapped the 4 people. This is impossible. Such a terrifying Tao rhyme, too terrifying. Who the hell is it, has such strength? No, the 4 corpse puppet generals' voices trembled, and they let out a cry of unwillingness. As soon as their voices sounded, they stopped abruptly. Their bodies turned into ice sculptures, frozen in place, motionless. A gust of wind flew out of the picture scroll. Boom, 4 bursts sounded. Immediately afterward, the 4 corpse puppets exploded into pieces and splashed around. Until death, they did not make a scream. All around there was dead silence. A group of immortal cultivators stared at this scene blankly, full of disbelief. The heavy snow presses the pine tree, and the pine tree stands straight. Su Yiling finished this sentence. Buzz, the world trembled. They saw that the picture scroll in Su Yiling's hand flew out and grew rapidly in the sky. When the space dragon Ancestor saw this scene, his face changed slightly. Damn, World Tree, you have also become a bootlicker. Unexpectedly become a pine tree in the painting. The space dragon Ancestor said. These words were only transmitted into the painting, and no one heard it. Oh, you are not the same, willing to be bound in a sculpture. The voice came from the painting. Immediately afterward, a pine tree flew out of the painting and stood over the jade pool. I have a fate with the young master. The space dragon ancestor snorted coldly. Is that so? He's just a bootlicker. The world tree spoke without any mercy. You. The space dragon ancestor was speechless and snorted coldly. I can't be bothered with you. After saying that, the space dragon ancestor's figure rapidly shrank. In less than a moment, it turned into a sculpture and flew back into Mu Bing's hand. Above the jade lake, boundless spiritual energy gushed out from the scroll. Howl, there was a roar of hail. The spiritual energy formed a gale that surrounded the world tree. Immediately after, threads of light sprinkled down from the world tree. It was like the Milky Way pouring down from the 9 heavens. The entire Jade Lake Palace was changing rapidly. As long as you stay in the Jade Lake Palace, even if you don't cultivate, the surrounding spiritual energy is silently rushing to everyone's meridians. The problem was that this spiritual energy was 10 times easier to absorb than high-tier spiritual stones. In just a single breath, his strength had grown several times faster than normal cultivation. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded. This method, this ability, it was heaven-defying to the extreme, unimaginable. What kind of existence was the creator of this scroll? In the sky, the pine tree was growing rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a 1,000-meter-tall tree. From a distance, it looked like a giant peak. Subsequently, the pine tree slowly fell and took root in the forbidden area of the Jade Lake Palace. From a distance, it looked like a world tree, standing proudly in the sky, supporting the world. The breath of life, continuous, seemed to be unable to stop, filling every corner of the Jade Lake Palace. For a long time, the sky scroll gradually shrank and returned to Su Yiling's hands. At this moment, everyone was stunned in place, motionless. That kind of astonishment, that kind of shock. It was written all over everyone's face. They looked at the 1,000-meter-tall pine tree, shining brightly. Young master, you are transforming the destiny of the Jade Lake Palace. Su Yiling muttered to herself, her heart pounding. You are really omnipotent. She opened the scroll in her hand and found that the pine tree on it had disappeared. But the ice and snow inside were still there. Endless Tao rhymes, vibrating out, seemed to be able to freeze everything. Young master, thank you. Su Yiling took back the scroll, full of emotion. A moment later, a group of cultivators recovered from the shock. My horse. Such a terrifying means, it's too shocking. I'm afraid there is no such place in the entire Tianluo continent with such a strong spiritual energy. That is, even the central region Holy Land, compared with here, I'm afraid it's far worse. If I can stay here for a year, even if I don't cultivate, I'm afraid I can break through several realms. The sound of explosions kept ringing. Mu Bing pressed her violently beating heart, took a few long breaths, and calmed down a little. This method is completely seizing the good fortune of heaven and earth. Young master, what kind of existence are you? Mu Bing looked in the direction of the great demon mountain with a bright look. Thinking about it, she actually wanted to expose the young master? Thinking about it, there was a burst of fear. That was completely brainless, and she didn't want to live. Fortunately, she formed a good relationship with the young master. Young master, thank you. In Luo Liuyan's eyes, the light was constantly shining. This must be after she passed the test. The young master changed the Jade Lake Palace into a supreme holy land. This great kindness would be unforgettable. Withdrawing her mood, Luo Liuyan's eyes swept. The cold killing intent rolled out. Those cultivators who were still in shock instantly woke up. Without thinking about it, they knelt on the ground one by one. Palace Master Luo, please be magnanimous and spare our lives. Palace Master Luo, it's all our greed. It has nothing to do with other disciples. Please let them go. Jade Lake Palace Master, I am greedy, but the subordinates are innocent. Please spare their lives. I will let you deal with them. The first few people directly knelt in front of Luo Luoyan and kept kowtowing. Attack my Jade Lake Palace. You still want me to let you go? Do you think my Jade Lake Palace is easy to bully? Luo Luoyan's voice was cold. Palace Master Luo, we are wrong, we are really wrong, please spare our lives. A group of cultivators, lying on the ground, shivering. The death penalty can be avoided, but the punishment is hard to forgive. You guys abolish your own cultivation. Others become slaves of Jade Lake Palace, do you understand? Luo Luoyan's voice was cold, rolling out. Yes, Palace Master. The first few people, without any hesitation, directly shattered their dantian. Although they became mortals, at least they were still alive. The other cultivators knelt on the ground, full of gratitude. Great, we can even become slaves of Jade Lake Palace. It's really a blessing from the previous life. Yes, now Jade Lake has become a supreme holy land and become slaves. It's a good thing for us. Many cultivators' faces were full of joy. However, they thought too much. You wait, leave Jade Lake Palace immediately, stay at the foot of the mountain, and be on standby. As long as one person escapes, all of them will be executed together. The cold voice, like a piercing chill, surged through everyone. At this time, those who wanted to stay in Jade Lake Palace to cultivate were like deflated balls. Those who wanted to escape also put away their thoughts. With joint responsibility, it was impossible to escape. As for everyone fleeing together? Oh, courting death! Nearly 10,000 cultivators, like a defeated army, hung their heads, without any spirit. From then on, they became slaves and could only listen to Jade Lake Palace. When everyone left, Luo Luoyan walked to the front of the crowd and said, "Let's go to the secret room." Good. Chen Daoming and others nodded together, followed Luo Luoyan and went quickly. Chapter 67. Jade Lake Palace in a Secret Room. Everyone, do you understand what the young master means? Luo Luoyan looked at the three people and asked. Fellow Taoist Luo. Chen Daoming thought for a while and said, transforming Jade Lake Palace into a supreme holy land is a reward given by the young master? Yes. Speaking of this, Luo Luoyan showed a smile. Everyone has seen it. The young master's means are unimaginable. Just understanding the young master's meaning, there is such a good fortune. If we complete the young master's test and kill all the evil races, what do you think the young master will give us as a reward? As soon as these words came out, hiss, the sound of cold air gasping kept ringing. There was no way to imagine it at all. The annihilation of the evil races must be completed. If you can become the young master's disciple, you can't cultivate for 1,000,000 lifetimes. Fellow Taoist Chen, in fact, we still haven't realized one thing. Luo Luoyan said. There is one more thing? Chen Daoming looked puzzled. Do you remember when the young master talked to you about the evil races? Luo Luoyan said. I remember, at that time, the young master was very angry, picked up a dead branch and threw it into the pool. Speaking of this, Chen Daoming seemed to think of something. Dead branch, isn't it firewood? It turned out that the young master threw the firewood into Jade Lake, implying that Chai Yuanchu was going to attack Jade Lake Palace. It's so obvious we didn't think of it. This understanding really needs to be improved. Chen Daoming's face was full of shame. Yes, we must think more about it in the future and understand the young master's intention. Luo Luoyan looked at Chen Daoming and nodded with satisfaction. Finally, she found a guy with a good brain. In the future, the two of them will work together, and the young master's intention will only be able to understand 50%. As for Mu Bing, although her brain is not stupid, there is always something missing. Thinking of this, Luo Luoyan looked at Chen Daoming and continued to speak. Fellow Taoist Chen, the young master means that I should unite all the forces that can be united. So, I did not kill all the disciples of the Heavenly Underworld sect and the Raging Fire sect. In the future, they will be led by you, what do you think? Luo Luoyan said. No problem. Chen Daoming nodded. If they do well and make great contributions, they can be rewarded, such as Supreme Spirit Tea, come to the Jade Lake Palace to cultivate. Luo Luyan said. Chen Daoming Dao Chen Daoming. What Supreme Spirit Tea? Mu Bing revealed a puzzled expression. That was given to fellow Taoist Chen by the young master, who ordered him to fight against the evil race. Luo Luyan said. Not bad. After that, Chen Daoming took out all 3 bags of tea. When she opened it, Mu Bing was instantly stunned. This is enlightenment tea. Mu Bing let out a cry of surprise. The 3 of them smiled when they saw Mu Bing's surprised expression. Back then, when they saw the Tao comprehension tea, they were also shocked to the extreme. However, he was completely numb now. To them, these things were peerless treasures. To the young master, it was just for drinking, not worth mentioning. Heavens, so many enlightenment tea leaves. There are at least a few thousand of them. If you take it out, aren't you afraid that I'll snatch it? Mu Bing said. Chen Daoming smiled slightly and did not take it to heart. Since the young master asked me to keep it, it must have been calculated that no one can take it away. If fellow Taoist Mu doesn't believe me, you can try. Chen Daoming said. This? Mu Bing thought of Sun Hao, the supreme existence, and instantly lost her mind. He had calculated everything and laid out a plan in advance. Divine beasts as pets, and demon immortals as servants. Even the ancient dragon clan dared to eat it. If she dared to grab it, she was afraid that she would disappear as soon as she made a move. Fellow Taoist Mu, since this thing was given by the young master, I naturally will not take it alone. We will set up a rule that only when the merit reaches a certain level can we be rewarded with enlightenment tea or even immortal tea. It's the same for everyone. What do you think of my proposal? Chen Daoming asked. Not bad. Luo Luyan nodded. Otherwise, we will call it the Evil Suppression Alliance. Accept thousands of disciples. This proposal is good, but the specific details need to be carefully considered. Otherwise, let's sit down and discuss it together. How about it? Luo Luyan said. Okay. Several people sat down and began to study it carefully. Time passed little by little, and in the blink of an eye, it was a day. After a day of discussion, the Evil Suppression Alliance's rules were initially formed. Later modifications needed to be discussed unanimously and voted for by the 4 people. Mu Bing walked out of Jade Lake Palace, and her whole body trembled slightly with excitement. This line, it was right to come. She and the young master formed a good karma. This was the beginning of good fortune. In the near future, she would definitely become an immortal. Thinking of this, Mu Bing breathed a long sigh of relief. She flew up and returned to the flying boat. Let's go. With a command, the flying boat opened. Time flew by, and in a blink of an eye, it was another 2 days. Supreme Court West Courtyard, in a secret room. Mu Bing sat inside, talking tirelessly. Opposite her sat a white-haired old man. He was the dean of the Supreme Court West Courtyard, Wenrensher. Wenrensher's calm face became more and more shocked as Mu Bing explained. There was a demon immortal in the pond, a mythological beast as a pet, a warehouse of spiritual weapons, and a painting scroll to seize good fortune. Everything was calculated and laid out in advance. Every means was extremely heaven-defying. Wenrensher was the so-called Wenrensher. The most terrifying thing was that even the ancient dragon clan was eaten. In this world there was such a supreme existence. This godly cunning immortal was so terrifying and heaven-defying. Wenrensher opened his mouth wide and did not close it for a long time. Hiss! Wenrensher took a breath of cold air and calmed down for a long time. According to what you said, that godly cunning immortal doesn't care about fame and fortune. Moreover, deliberately suppressing with Buddha to make others suspect that it was done by the Elysium, I'm afraid there is a deep meaning in this. He doesn't want people to discover him. Little Bing, the matter of the godly cunning immortal cannot be spread to outsiders. If someone asks, you will say that it was done by a Buddhist master. One Rincher said. Dean, I understand. Mu Bing nodded heavily, but what about the Jade Lake Palace? This is seen by many cultivators. Then there is no way, let them say it, it doesn't matter if they say that the godly cunning immortal suppressed it. However, the residence of the godly cunning immortal must not be leaked to others. When Rincher said, Yes, Dean. Mu Bing nodded. Little Bing, then tell me about the godly cunning immortals test. One Rincher said, Yes, Dean. Mu Bing nodded and said, There are 3 tests. First, let me join forces with Luo Luyen and Chen Daoming to recruit the cultivators in the world to eradicate the evil race. Hearing this, One Rincher's eyes lit up. So, I can also become a chess piece in the hands of the young master? Not bad. The second is to recruit 3 apprentices. After our discussion, we learned that there is a condition for the young master to recruit apprentices, that is, whoever can kill the lord of the evil race can become the young master's apprentice. Mu Bing said, What, the lord of the evil race? One Rincher's face showed a trace of fear. 10,000 years ago, the lord of the evil race was already infinitely close to the existence of an immortal, and may even have become an immortal. With his own strength, it was tantamount to hitting a stone with an egg. It seemed that it was impossible to become the young master's apprentice. The third is a personal test. The young master now lacks black vein immortal gold, so, Dean, can you? Mu Bing lowered her head with a face of shame. Asking the Dean for immortal gold, she was really cheeky. No problem, you can take all my immortal gold. When Rincher said, What? Mu Bing's face was full of disbelief. Dean, that is the treasure you have collected for many years, it is not good to give it all to me. What's wrong with it? After One Rincher finished speaking, he immediately took out 8 pieces of black vein, immortal gold from the space ring and handed them to Mu Bing. What are a few pieces of immortal gold? When Rincher's face did not show any pain. Dean, this is the black vein immortal gold you have collected for 500 years. Don't you feel bad taking it all? Mu Bing said. It is my blessing that the young master can take a fancy to such a thing. How can I be stingy? One Rincher said. Thank you, Dean. Mu Bing clasped her fists. Okay, hurry up and send it to the young master, don't let him wait too long. One Rincher said. Yes, Dean. After speaking, Mu Bing walked out. Wait. One Rincher shouted. Dean, what else do you want? Mu Bing said. The young master has given you such a good fortune, it is a little disrespectful to let you send it alone. Let this old man go with you, this will show sincerity, maybe the young master will have the next instruction. When Rincher said, Okay, Dean. Then, when Rincher followed Mu Bing and left quickly.